is a voice for the regime. This is the regime's rhetoric. The Trump regime, the Republican regime, the gun lobbyists. What's the motherfucking gun sale people? Raytheon. This is a Raytheon. It's a Raytheon rhetoric. And all of the arms dealing motherfuckers. See what I'm saying? They already done put the fucking rhetoric out there. They done already said everything that could be possibly said. Black folk supposed to be quiet and be nice and say thoughtfuls and prayers and all the rest of the book. No. Tell the truth and shame the devil. Call a duck a duck. A spade a spade. See, that's the fucking problem where we at right now, because nobody wants to call a spade a spade.
Preacher.
We get the well, what about? What about? No, what about all these white folk, these honkies killing up each other? At a rate black folks couldn't imagine. Huh? What you say, Concrete? Did you say white folk? This is what y'all ain't been saying the whole time. White folk been killing each other at a rate that black folk couldn't even imagine. We couldn't even afford the ammo to kill as much as they kill each other.
That's false.
We couldn't even afford the goddamn ammo to kill up niggas as much as honkies kill honkies.
Who's doing the fact checking?
Go ahead, fact check me. I love when you niggas, I love it when I say shit that you niggas can't believe. And then you say, well, actually, well, I mean, you're right, but I mean, when you look at it this way.
What about Chicago?
See? And what about Chicago? Oh, wow. All of the fucking lot. You know, I work and I travel and I shop in Chicago every fucking week. I take my daughters, my 4-year-old and my 9-year-old. You know, Chicago is their favorite city to go to. When they see those skyscrapers, when we on the highway, when we on 94, and we coming into the city, and they see them motherfucking skyscrapers, they know we finna have a ball. They know we finna go and do something exciting and have some fucking fun in the big city. They love riding the scooters and shit up and down Wacker Drive and shit. Michigan Avenue. A beautiful, the best city I've ever been. I done been to a lot of places. Chicago's my favorite fucking city in the goddamn world. Now, I ain't been to all the cities, but so far, Chicago is my favorite city in the fucking world. And guess what? Chicago know how to treat niggas. Chicago welcomes niggas and treats niggas like human beings in Chicago. I go to these other cities, these affluent areas in other cities. They look like we ain't supposed to be there. See what I'm saying? But you go down to Chicago, I'm not saying, oh, it ain't no wild places in Chicago, but motherfuckers is going to get fucked up because they in close proximity of each other. They living all up over the top of each other, and they poor. You see what I'm saying? But we don't factor that in. We talk about, well, what about the gun? Well, get these niggas some jobs and some money and some affordable housing, and I bet you won't see all that crime. As a matter of fact, crime's been dropping for the same reason why crime was dropping in Washington, D.C. See, I bet you niggas don't know why the crime rate is a 30-year low of crime in Washington, D.C. I bet you niggas don't know why. It's the same reason why the crime rate is dropping in Chicago. It's because of the fucking relationship that the authorities is building with the community. Motherfuckers on the ground, not saying, well, what about Chicago every time some white folk get shot? It's motherfuckers on the ground building relationships. And you niggas, not all of y'all, but the nigga that I heard earlier probably never even been to fucking Chicago before. But he talking about, what about Chicago? Well, what kind of relationship building was you doing down in there? Or did you even know that the crime rate done been at a fucking 20-year low? It's been dropping. They have these, what the problem is, they'll have a shooting and then it goes national news and now that's all every motherfucker's talking about. They don't talk about the white boy that shot up the goddamn factory in Chicago, though. Or the fucking white boy that got road rage and got out and beat another white boy to death with a fucking... See, that don't make national news. How crazy white folks is. Go to Chicago and look at the local news. And you gonna see, motherfuckers is pushing motherfuckers off of buildings. Motherfuckers is kidnapping motherfuckers and put them in the sex rings and shit, sex trafficking, all kind of white folk. White folks is doing it. The mob. Y'all think that shit's out in New York? Y'all think the mob and mob hits go on in New York back in the 80s? No, nigga. That shit go on in Chicago in 2025. See what I'm saying? Y'all niggas is fooled by the propaganda that the regime done put out. And now you're trying to tell me I better be careful because somebody's gonna be a goddamn martyr. Y'all need to cut this bull. Y'all on here talking soft.
Hey Corey,
to a bunch of wild ass niggas.
Hey,
Go
Corey,
ahead.
can you do me a favor? Can you put Chef's name to the shit you saying? No, I'd appreciate it. Cause Chef was the nigga that said the shit about Chicago with Tony. Just so we clear.
Well, I didn't hear. I wasn't there. I hung up when Tony said it. I didn't hear Chef.
Chef said it's black on black crime and release the military. And I'm telling you, niggas in Chicago is walking around trying to figure out what the fuck is going on that military is needed for. The governor don't want to do it, the mayor don't want to do it, and the people don't want to do it. But it's niggas on the internet.
It's the regime that want to do it.
So concentrated, man.
It's the oppressive regime that wants to.
Ain't never been to Chicago that think it's the worst place in the world. I've been to Chicago. That's the Midwest New York City, nigga.
It's the Midwest New York, right? But it's a city of love. You see what I'm saying? It's actually a city of love, bro.
Yeah, that wasn't just.
I need to come out here. Come out here.
Hey, Corey, just to help you out a little bit, no one in here.
See, motherfuckers don't talk about how Indiana's gun laws is laxed. You see what I'm saying? Because all them guns in Chicago, guess where they come from? From my city, from my home city, the city where I'm born and raised in good old Indiana, good old Republican Indiana. Where you can walk around, where you can walk through Walmarts with 3 AR-15s strapped to your fucking neck. See? No, nobody's saying nothing about that.
Nah, because they like that shit. They like the guns, man.
Yeah. Nobody said, I didn't hear no motherfucker talk about the kids that got shot up in Colorado yesterday. Did nobody know that a bunch of kids got shot up in Colorado at a school
right before? Yeah. I told you it was.
We mentioned it. We mentioned it.
It was a school shooting right before that. Somehow this racist motherfucker is top of the news.
After he get through throwing salt on shit like that, school shootings and shit like that, he actually talked himself right. His rhetoric. And the shit that his advocacy, because he advocates for it, for violence, for gun life. He calls for the death of motherfuckers. He advocates, and his advocacy got him shot in the neck. The shit that he actually advocates for is what he got. Why did he advocate for it? Because he thought he was insulated. He didn't know it was real. He didn't know white folk kill. He thought it was just niggas. See, somebody told him that it was a black on black thing. Black on black is the crime that needs to be stopped. But he didn't realize that white folk is the only one doing all the goddamn killing when you look at the numbers. He didn't realize that. Just like the one nigga, I don't know what his name, Tony? Phony Tony? Baloney Tony? Like, he didn't realize that them hunkies kill up more than any nigga could dream of. And way more savage ways. This nigga couldn't stomach some of the ways that white folk kill. He wouldn't be able to stomach it. Yet he want to say, well, what about Chicago? All this old tough guy. Well, he talking about black on black crime. Listen what this nigga did, Brass. Unbelievable shit. You can't even make this shit up. I promise you I'm not this creative. Then in the middle of him talking about, well, what about black on black crime in Chicago and all that, the nigga goes to tell me, well, nigga, you wouldn't talk to me like that if we was in face to face. Oh, wild shit that you couldn't make it up, Brass.
Yeah, but stop the killing.
I forgot you said that. I forgot. I ain't even.
Wow, shit. That's why
like
that nigga hang up the phone.
I forgot you said that.
I'm not talking to these niggas no more.
And then said, but if you was in front of me, though, we'd be doing some black on black crime.
Wow, shit.
It'll be some furniture moving if you was in front of me. It'll be some furniture moving.
There'll be some furniture moving around this motherfucker. You wouldn't even do it.
Y'all kill me. I'm glad Corey show my energy, bro. I'm not hearing this shit. I'm
hearing now, man. I'm with my man's Athema. I'm not entertaining this shit no more, bro. Because it's dangerous. I keep telling y'all that the mis and disinformation is deadly. I keep saying it over and over and over and over again that this shit is deadly, bro. Just because it ain't got you dead yet, don't mean it ain't deadly, bro. We gotta quit entertaining this bullshit, bro. Call bullshit when you see bullshit.
What's up,
Call
Puppy?
it.
What are you doing? You being a good boy?
You shut it down, Corey. They silent, man. They
Because it ain't no comeback for that. Because they start thinking about their own family members. They start thinking about their own neighborhood and shit like that. They start thinking about themselves. Because that's what the real deal is. When these white folk run up in one of your kids' schools. Because your kids ain't safe. In Chicago, the kids is good in the neighborhood. They riding scooters and dirt bikes and all kind of shit up and down the street. Right now, go down there. Go down to the south side. Go down to the west side. Go to the projects. But you know where it's dangerous at? Where they more likely to be shot in the fucking face at? At kindergarten. They more likely to be shot in the fucking face on the playground at kindergarten than they is in their neighborhood. In the neighborhoods that you niggas saying is dangerous. See, all the kids, not just black kids, every child in America, the most dangerous place for them to be right now today is at school. Going to the 1st and 2nd grade, going to the 5th grade, being a junior. That's dangerous today.
Who said that's not true? Because that's very true. Guns are the #1 killer of children in the last 3 to 5 years. That's not a made up stat.
I was referring
not car accidents, not cancer, guns.
You just was talking. You just wanted to think you could rebut somebody because you think it's a bunch of dumb niggas on here.
No, I don't. What I wanted to say is because I have made a comment in the chat, and Brass asked me to respond. The number one cause of death of black men from the age of like 18 to 30 is homicide. The number
We
one
said
cause of
children.
death.
Talking about kids.
We said children.
I'm talking about the point of why they call it black on black violence, even though I don't agree
I
with
don't
the
give a
term.
fuck about why they call it. I don't
So
want to hear.
my point is,
I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear. I'm finna go. I don't want to hear the bullshit.
my point is, even though I don't agree with the term, because I feel like when you try to isolate it, you don't galvanize the country to solve it. It should be an American problem. But my point is, in terms of some statistics that was mentioned earlier, the number one cause of death amongst black men between 18 and about 32 is homicide from other black men. The number one cause of death of white men, the same demographic, is vehicle homicide, is from car crashes. So it is an issue whether we want to accept it or not.
Anybody talking?
Yeah, it got quiet
Everybody,
for a second. Where's everybody
everybody
at?
mics and stuff. No, everybody mics and stuff went out. So you keep hearing people click off and click back on to get everything. It be glitching sometimes, y'all.
Damn.
Gotcha.
I bet. I was like, nigga, it was silent. I was like, nigga.
Right. I heard those statistics thrown out, and then everything just went silent.
Yeah, I'm about to say my nigga dropped a bomb apparently. Oh shit.
What statistics? I ain't hear it. What did he say?
Yeah, run it back on that nigga.
How y'all niggas don't believe on black crime? I'm still stuck right there.
With the black on black crime, even though I don't agree with the term per se in terms of finding solutions, but it is a reality because, as I mentioned, the number one cause of death amongst black men from like 18 to 32 is homicide from other black men. In that same demographic, white men, the number one cause of death is car crashes.
What that got to do with that?
So that
with
somehow
children,
proves
though? Like,
black on black
I'm lost.
crime is real. That's what you're alluding to. That means
Yeah, it's real in the sense that there's a disproportionate amount of homicides.
I bet you if you dig within that, it'll be mostly gang controlled and concentrated violence. It ain't just random black niggas just popping up dead. It's usually something concentrated in that way. It's not that cut and dry.
No, you're right. You're right about that because in every community, it's a very small percentage of black men that are committing these homicides. You're correct on that.
And hydrochloric acid.
But it's still at such a high rate causes the numbers to reflect that the number one cause of death.
No, I think they're both 5. Yeah, they're both 5.
Yo, mute up, bruh.
Hydrochloric acid.
You know, Fairmont, I think here's a question that I'm curious to hear what brothers think about this. And I'm not sure where this enters into the conversation and where it departs, because I'm not sure what Corey's position was yesterday. I wasn't here. But is it a necessity to bring up the homicide and the death rates of black men, let's say black men, which was specifically talking about black men, that's perpetuated by other black men in the midst of a conversation where we're talking about racial violence, white men murdering black bodies. Like,
political
is that
violence.
right? Political violence. Is that appropriate? Is that deserving? Like, and that, the reason why I ask that is, and I'll land here, when George Floyd was murdered the other year, a few years ago, I can't remember, man, time that went past, a few years ago, a lot of us was like organizing and just doing all this stuff, protecting our community, blah, 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 blah. But one thing that came up was a counter narrative campaign to bring awareness to the homicides that was happening in our community. And it almost seemed like there was a bottleneck where they were competing for the attention, because there was a lot of national attention and even global attention, elevating the discourse on political violence around racial hatred and white body suppressing black men, black bodies. But there was a counter narrative that was pushed up again. But what about black on black violence? And what about black men killing other black men? Does that deserve the same level of attention in the exact same discourse? That's the question I ask.
It deserves more. I would say more.
It's a
we were up in
weaponized.
arms about police officers killing unarmed black men. We weren't up in arms with the nigga who brandished a weapon towards the police. We didn't go march for that person. It was about the killing of unarmed black men. That's what that was about. Those are separate issues, though.
How we got to the point was the brother earlier had brought in Chicago, and what he was trying to allude to, at least how I interpret it,
thanks, Moss.
Allude to people being shot over words, right? And I think what he's talking about, what he was alluding to, was gun violence in this country. So he was kind of connecting those two things. But in a general sense,
gotcha.
I wouldn't have the conversation and bringing up black on black violence, but I wanted, since it kind of evolved there and people were saying that black on black violence doesn't exist, that's why I brought up this.
No, that's not what we. No. That's not what we're saying.
I never said black people don't commit crimes with other black
that's
people.
Not what we said.
We're
not saying that there's no
in the framing, in the framework you're using it in. You're not just saying it like it's just some thing. You're making it seem like it's disproportionate.
Nigga,
and it's not.
All that bullshit. Can't you hear him talking, motherfucker? Back the fuck up, nigga.
Like black men getting arrested is disproportionate. Exonerations with black men make that. Like, I mean,
my fault.
It is what it is, man. I don't know.
No, I agree.
Nigga,
I agree with
over my shoulder.
It's like we missed so many points. Just to hunker down that we just got these deranged motherfuckers and shit. Crazy.
I think
no.
Hold on,
true. I think not that this ignorant niggas not paying attention to me. You bitch ass.
Fairmont, were you around when Brass read where the origins of that phraseology?
Let me get this point out because I can't. No. Go ahead.
Or when and where the origins of that phraseology came from? You were around for that?
Yeah, and I had said, I prefaced my statement with saying I don't even agree with the terminology.
Oh,
because I think it should be understood as an American problem instead of trying to isolate to black America. You know what I'm saying?
Like right there.
You're
right. We're not saying that there's no such thing as black on black violence. We're not saying that. I'm just making sure when you say black on black crime,
I can't.
Y'all hear me?
I can't agree with that terminology either.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
All right, so when y'all say black on black crime, you got to understand that's a weaponized term. That's like literally created.
What about Brass?
Huh? Oh, well, that's a
Smalls. Can you hear Brass? Brass is talking.
No, what it is tell Smalls. Do me a favor. Tell Smalls.
I'm muting him for myself by accident. I didn't server mute him. Yeah, my bad. I thought I server muted him.
Yeah, there's no question that there's black on black violence, disproportionate. It's not even disproportionate, to be quite honest. Like I said, the numbers of white on white murder is 85%. The numbers of black on black murder is 90%. So it's not disproportionate. But they don't call it white on white crime. They call it black on black crime because it's a weaponized term used for politics. So when you use that term, you can say it's nothing wrong with saying there's black on black violence or wanting to help your people, that's cool. But just understand when you call it black on black crime, I want you to go find me something where they're consistently talking about white on white crime, and the number is 5% less.
No, I
so
agree.
Your point, hold on, let me finish. So your point about that their number one leading cause of death is not firearms, what you should be pointing, not what you should, what that points to is an American social ill, not a black on black ill. That's not we shouldn't, because see, now if I wanted to be technical, right? And I think this is what Corey was saying. If we're also saying about how many what whites kill, then we'd have to also take into account how many white people do they kill across the globe. See, so now when he starts talking,
hey, Kiana,
I'm
can you
assuming
grab
that that's
these
what
lights?
Corey's talking about. When Corey was talking about,
these are the last two.
Oh yeah, when Corey was talking about how they kill in ways that you don't even imagine. Remember, if we're gonna do the white on white, if we're gonna do the white black thing, then what about the military and the drones and all the murder we do all over the globe? We just gonna focus on the kids in Chicago though.
No,
Come on,
I agree. I agree with you on that point. I really do. My only rebut was to your point about the disparity, because you brought up the statistic about the 85% versus 95%. My only point was within that it's disproportionate against black men, which is why the number one cause of death is homicide amongst black men.
And that's why I mean we could focus on the violence in our community. I'm just saying when you put the term, I just want people to understand the term black on black crime was created by the media and politics to paint us as savages right after it came out during the crack era. And then after that, then they used it to push forth the 94 crime bill. That's when you started hearing terms like super predators and this, that, and the other. So when you're saying these, I'm just saying just the black on black term is just not, it's a politicized, weaponized tool against black people. Us using it, it doesn't further or help us at all. We can recognize violence in our community without saying it's black on black crime.
So you think we should go against the department? So do you think black people should go against the Department of Justice because they say it?
The Department of Justice, no. The FBI and the Department of Justice and any local police department, when they classify crime, they classify it as a type of crime, a robbery, a murder, a homicide. They do not classify crime by race. I'm looking at it right now
on the Department of Justice website, and they talk about black on black homicide, a psychological, political.
Yeah, do they say black on black crime?
It says black. Yes.
It says the words black on black
homicide.
No. Then you're not listening to what I'm saying. Black on black crime is a specific term.
Black on black. I thought you was honing in on black on black.
No, I'm saying the term. The term black on black crime is a political tool. The words. Yeah, you already know you about to say something crazy because Fetty agree with you. Go ahead, Chef. Go ahead. What you about to say?
Listen, I'm having a hard time with this one. With y'all.
I
ain't gonna lie.
Well, why wouldn't you?
Like I'm
Corey
not
was speaking though. Cause see, I want to see you and Corey disagree. I want to hear y'all go back and forth.
Go get him back on.
No, he was here. He was speaking directly to you, and you didn't say a word. Nothing.
No, listen. Go get him. I can defend that black on black crime is a real thing. I don't care what you niggas say. I don't care if y'all don't like it. I don't care if y'all don't like it. Yo, reality is reality. You think what I'm saying? I live in the black city. Nigga, that's black on black crime that happened here. It ain't nobody else doing that shit to them.
Crime is interracial.
Yeah, and they all
happens
black.
in
So
your
it's
community.
a black person committing a crime against another black person.
No, all races kill within their own group. Mostly kill within their own group. It ain't black on black.
Do you think that helps you?
Yes, it does. Because
you think that means that that's not black on black crime?
No, it's not, because there's no such thing as white on white crime. No. There's no term. You don't hear the term. You don't hear the term Puerto Rican on Puerto Rican crime. You don't hear the term Asian on Asian crime. You don't hear the term white on white crime. Why? Because they don't have to politicize that. No, it's the media and the news that you falling for.
Well. Let me tell you why I think black on black crime actually became a thing for black people, right? Because I remember when black people used the damn term, right? And when black people was using the term, they was coming out of the historical segregation, Jim Crow, the violence that was precipitated on black people by white people. So when we start moving up the cities and we start doing the shit to ourselves, black people start saying, yo, that's a crime that we're actually committing black on black crime. It ain't the white man doing it to us now, we doing it to ourselves. That's what they start saying. It's a real thing. It was a sentiment in the black community. Maybe y'all don't live in the black community. I made this up. You feel me? I made this up, but black people actually felt this way. Matter of fact, outside of the internet, black people do feel this way. Y'all are unicorns. You feel me? I can explain this to anybody else on the street, and I guarantee you, we won't be arguing about that shit.
Right.
We wouldn't be arguing about that shit. I'm a barber. I'm in a barber shop with black people all day, every day. We talk about black on black crime. We ain't crying about it's being political. It's a real thing. We're acknowledging what goes on in our community. Like, it's crazy.
I tell you what, Chef. Like, I don't like the terminology. I don't believe in it. But do I believe that there's a bigger systemic problem with black people or underlying issue? I do. And I'll say it's more of an economic. So it's more the shit that we're coming out of and the shit that we face. It's not nothing that's wrong with us. And so that phraseology kind of lends credence. That's why I don't like to use it, because its origins were lending credence that like there's something wrong with these niggas. But I will say that
we're talking about us. We're having a conversation amongst us, though.
Amongst us,
talking about a very small percentage of people in the black community are driving the largest share of the killings. This is not evident of the black community. That's why it becomes dangerous. No, I know.
That's not true for no other ethnic group. That's not.
And that's what I was about to say.
But that still doesn't make it black on black crime. Listen, the context I'm leaving out is that whites, once again, whites, Latinos, and others kill mostly within their own race. This is not like a unique thing. What's unique to us, though, and this is why I'm about to put on my full Blackology uniform and my hat with my pins, is that we are the ones that got hit with concentrated poverty, fucking redlining, segregation, crack epidemic, heavy policing.
Right.
All of that magnifies these rates at a heavy police. Yeah, see, if that's your response, then have at it.
Basically saying what we crying about.
That's exactly what I was trying to say.
You gotta deal with it.
So why the hell do we sit here and talk and defend all those elders?
You start killing each other.
Right.
So what are you saying?
The bigger
portray a world where people don't kill each other?
Yeah, the biggest problem is not us being black. The biggest problem is we got access to guns. We don't have a lot of access to cash. And it's a structural set disadvantage for these people. And once again, I'm gonna say this to you. This is a very small, concentrated.
Wait, I thought we were talking about crime. We talking about just murders in general.
No, we're talking about murder. Well, I mean, crime in general if you want, but he's talking about murder because he said why the homicide rate. But my point, the reason I'm speaking
gangs, bro. You can't stop gangs from killing. Man,
no, this is a small, concentrated percentage of people driving a large share of these killings.
Poverty denotes crime, but poverty does not denote homicide.
Right.
And they say right here, 14 to 15% of kids have identified as being a part of a gang. So you're telling me that 14% just fuck the other 85? Like, man, what?
And that's the majority of the killings.
We don't have gangs in Baltimore, so
y'all definitely have gangs in Baltimore.
You don't even need to be in the gang.
Yeah, y'all do.
To kill some
y'all definitely got gangs.
I got a homeboy running that claim 20th Street. What is that? It's all over.
It's rolling 60s.
20th Street.
I don't even know. I don't even know nobody who live on 20th Street.
Yes, that's what he claimed. He don't live there no more.
I've never heard a bad motherfucker coming off of 20th Street.
It's a gang.
I'm telling you.
You know what that is?
He claimed a group. He claims a group. Like, so whether you want to call it a blood or it's still a group of people.
Y'all got Grape Street. Y'all got every gang that any other inner city community got.
I know damn Grape Street Crips.
Yes, y'all do. Y'all do have Grape Street Crips in Baltimore. Trust me.
I mean, the general point is correct. The general point is correct. It is.
You say you don't have groups of people that click up together under a moniker, and man, what?
He just don't know, bro. Let it go.
It is. Y'all general point is correct. It is only a small percentage of black people in these neighborhoods committing this crime. The point is, this small percentage account for over half of the homicides in the whole country.
That's fine. So then, but then if it's a small percentage, then why are you calling it black on black?
We also account for a high proportion of wrongful convictions and exonerations.
So, for example, if Asians were killing each other in their
community,
they
wouldn't call it Asian on Asian crime because they do.
Listen. If this was happening, and they were responsible for half of the homicides in the country, even though they're a small minority, they would be calling it Asian on Asian crime.
No, they wouldn't. They don't do that for any other race than us. Listen to me. Murder crime is intraracial, meaning you commit crimes with people that are in close proximity to you. I just showed you that the murders, the killings is 85% in the white community. You've never heard the term white on white. You
keep missing my point, bro. You keep missing my point.
No, you just said that if the same thing was going on, they would call it Asian on Asian crime. But
no, that's not what I said. That's not what I said. That's not what I said. Every community.
No one's in denial. We don't like the framing that you're making it out to be as if like it's significant to us.
No.
Let me because I need to hear that terminology. I need to hear you describe the other crime the same way, so I know you're being fair. Then I can't tell the difference.
No, I'm not being fair though.
So did I.
Well, then there we go. You're not gonna give us a fair shake in the world. We ain't never gonna get nowhere. We don't get a fair shake.
You think I'm gonna hold your children accountable like I hold my children? Or you think I'm going to look after another family how I look at my family? You always treat yours harsher because you know that the penalty of them fucking up is more detrimental to your family's well-being. So I'm sorry I'm not as concerned about what Italians do to each other. I'm sorry I don't know the statistics. I'm sorry that I'm not as invested in what white people do to each other more than I'm worried about what we do to each other. Because I live amongst black people in the black community. So what we do to each other, don't give a fuck about what white people doing to each other.
We're not saying that neither though.
Yeah, we're not even saying that.
And coming to black community,
I'm saying when you say like,
don't worry about that.
When you say it's disproportionate and you see that the white rate is just as alarming, it's like what is it disproportionate to?
It's not.
What is it disproportionate to?
That is false. I keep trying to explain to this point. Every community there's inner violence. We know that. People going to kill people in close proximity to each other. The point is in the black community, it's happening amongst each other in a much higher rate. So much that even though black men account for 6% of the population, they account for half of the homicides in the country. That's epidemic, man.
Yeah, no one said that. Replicate those conditions across the border. You'll see.
Is that true? Hold on. Is that statistic true?
Yeah.
I need to look that up. Somebody, if that's true, yo, I'm done talking to y'all.
And I'm not saying that those external factors are not there to, to influence those things. You are correct. but it doesn't change the fact that that is an alarming statistic.
Any murder is alarming. It's no, like, no one ever wrote that off as not alarming.
He just said white people kill each other at a higher rate, and that's false.
No, I didn't say.
I didn't say higher.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that. I said they're at 80. I said white on white crime is 80 to 85% white on white. Black on black crime is 90%. So I didn't say it was higher. I'm saying I'm not alarmed that theirs is. I'm not going to be alarmed that ours is 90 while theirs is 85 unless I feed into the term black on black. Because see what you're saying about that 6%. Hold on, Fairmont. Let me finish. When you're talking about that 6%, when you say that, then you would literally damn near be saying that it's because they were black.
Because what I was going to ask Fairmont is if you say those contributing factors maybe just the influence, well then what else is there?
When you throw out, see, I'm bringing up all the other factors,
like
socioeconomic, the structural disadvantage. I'm bringing up everything, and the only thing you trying to say, honestly, Fairmont, I done brought in all of the reasons in these small concentrated pockets, because when you keep talking about 6%, you know it's another 94%, right? So when you're saying this, and we're telling you, and you agree that it's a very small percentage of us that account for this whole, the majority of these killings that all the savages is doing. So my point is, are you trying to say that it's because is this a color thing? This is why I'm trying to remove the color.
What I'm saying is there is a problem in the black community that does not exist in other communities.
Yeah, so replicate our conditions amongst those communities.
We have structural and social conditions in our community that don't exist in other communities. Would you agree?
I agree.
You're talking to a people that just got rights 60 years ago.
I agree.
Okay.
Yeah, Brash is literally giving you those what the issue is.
And I wasn't
arguing
against that. I wasn't arguing.
I think it's a mental. I think it's mental.
Chef's saying the real shit.
No, I just want to got some stats. Wait. Hold on.
I wouldn't disagree with that either.
Got some stats too. Hold on. Y'all went and got some stats too, since we doing stats. 30% of white men commit 40 to 45% of the homicides. Do you ever hear white on white? Do you ever hear that stat? Never. You don't. Because they don't even exist.
Illness. You know,
you would expect
explain that one.
You would expect 30 to 40%.
They say all black people are thugs. They say the one white kid is
because they represent the dominant society.
Account for 50%.
That's the point. That's not alarming.
That statistic that you just read again. Read that didn't even make sense.
White men, about 30%
they should account for more because they represent more of the population.
That was crazy. 6% is accountable for 50% of the fucking murders.
Well, black men in and of themselves are only 6% of the population.
That's the point.
Hold on.
So how can we account for 50% of the
you're saying
murders?
every black male?
No, you're literally see by your terminology, it's 6% of that 6%. Or what are you saying?
Right. I agree. Within black men, it is a small percentage of black men. I do agree.
Right. So then target them,
and then pull up the exonerations and false arrest. And let's see that.
We should target those black men. I agree with you.
No, I don't. Yeah, but I don't know. I don't think that we should target those. No, bro.
We make up 70% of exonerations.
How do we go about addressing those?
We have to do the same thing that we talk about when we talk about IQ, when we talk about anything in regards to the black community. We have to start at the structural and social disadvantages that we face specifically that are unique to us.
Yes.
We have to focus on those, because if you just focus on the kids, they do RICO busts and all this, that, and the other. By the way, Chef, for the grape streets you said ain't in Baltimore, I just put the federal indictment of the grape streets that are in Baltimore in the general chat. But back to you, Fairmont.
Buying on goddamn grape street.
Yeah, well, it's in the chat. The
The
federal government
that's
disagrees.
some shit
Chef,
goddamn.
No, the federal government
Man,
disagrees.
federal government.
Yeah, gang violence affects all black communities
in
except yours.
Baltimore.
But Fairmont, my overarching point is that
I'm trying
a lot of these,
y'all gonna
a
tell
lot of
me
these
what
murders.
and I'm
Go ahead, bro. I just read the indictment and tell me they're not grape street. Just tell me that.
Listen, the government put all kind of shit on people.
Oh God.
That shit don't be, man.
Including high murder rate.
You just accepted a stat. You just accepted a government stat from Fairmont, but you won't accept. You see, you don't even make sense when you talk, bro.
No, we're talking about murder. We're talking about murder.
That's from the government.
About murder.
Statistic like that could only come from the government.
Exonerations in this black on black crime. Y'all reading that stat, post that 70% exonerations that black men get, like, because that's that y'all reading is probably pre that exoneration. So you're reading the
So 70% of the exoneration is black people
black
committing
men,
murder.
yes.
So who is committing the murders in the black
is
community?
crimes in general. I know.
So who's committing the crimes in the black community?
A very small.
I don't care who's getting exonerated. Does the crime happen, and is it an outside entity that's coming into the black community, creating the crimes, committing the crimes, and then black people getting locked up for them?
It can happen a multitude of ways. I'm not saying there's one.
What are we saying?
Exactly what it says.
So somebody lying on
accused. What do you mean? How are you gonna say?
No,
so you don't agree that black men are arrested disproportionately? We don't agree to that.
No, I don't know.
That's
off of my point. I'm saying
So listen to this. Let me explain that 6%. Hold on, I'm about to answer your question. So
never gonna not.
I went and looked at, because remember, stats paint a real broad brush. So I went and looked at where Fairmont got this from. Mm-hmm. So it says the total U.S. population 330 million. Black population is 46. Black men is about 20 to 23 million. The age group involved in these homicides is 15 to 34. So when people say 6% of the population, they mean all black men of all ages in the U.S. But in reality, majority. Hold on, I'm not saying you. I said people. I'm not saying people. I just want to give clarity to the 6% so people understand what you actually are saying. I think you're saying what this is saying. In reality, the vast majority of that 6% isn't involved in homicide at all. Within that 6%, the highest concentration of homicide offenders and victims are young black men, 16 to 27. Even within that group, it's a small fraction, upper fraction. Studies show in any city, 1% of that city's population drives 70% of the shootings. For example, Chicago's research fund found that a few hundred young men in a gang or crew networks were linked to 75% of the shootings out of a city of millions of people. So that stat paints with a broad brush, because when you say 6%, hold on, it says when you say 6%, it means that all black men equal half of the homicides, when in actuality, it's a high-risk subset of young men in disadvantaged neighborhoods. Middle class, working class, professional black men, the majority have rates similar or less than, in most cases, to other groups.
That's correct.
Right. So you're not talking, but when you say the term Fairmont, now understand my point. When you make the term black on black crime, and you're talking about a subset of disadvantaged young youths that don't represent all black men, it don't represent the 6% that you're talking about. That's why saying black on black crime is dangerous. Because you're talking about it feels like you're talking about all of us when you're talking about a small group of people.
Y'all acting like y'all gonna tell some kids ain't none of us can be told what the fuck to do when we was teenagers. You weren't listening to nobody. What the fuck?
No,
man, what?
that's the
children.
that's kind of like an assumption, because when you read these statistics in general, they go and break it down. You know,
most people
that's
don't
true.
understand how to read
That's the same thing
statistics.
that's the same thing for mass incarceration. Majority of black people aren't being incarcerated. It's only a small percentage, but it don't change the fact that that's the actual problem.
Yeah, but mass
Same thing with
incarceration. But
homicide.
but when you bring up now, you switch to mass incarceration. But how can you say the words mass incarceration without over policing?
No, my point is, when we say the term mass
No,
incarceration,
answer that question.
let me just answer. When we talk about mass incarceration as it relates to black people, that term doesn't represent all black men. That term is applied to a small percentage of black men that's being impacted by that system. So what I'm saying is, yes, all black men are not committing homicide. It's only a small percentage, a very small percentage that's doing that. But nonetheless, they're creating it at such a high rate that we have to either develop a term, whether you agree with it or not. Like I mentioned, I don't agree with the term, but it don't change the reality that that's the actual fact. Like the point that only a small percentage of black men represent half of the homicides, that is a crazy statistic.
But the reason why I'm saying it's human or social is because you skipped over the fact that I told you in any city, 1% of it, take the race out of it, and then you realize we have a social issue in America because 1% of any city is accounting for 70% of the homicides in that city, irregardless of race.
No, but it goes back to my point in terms of the number one cause of death is homicide for black men.
Do you
That's not
understand what I'm
true.
saying? Do you
That's
understand
not
what I'm saying?
true. That's not true for no other group.
But do you understand? Right. And like I told you, our structural disadvantage and socioeconomic status isn't true for any other group either. We are
I agree with you on that,
bro. We're the only group of people that have had rights for 60 years.
I agree with you on that. I wasn't debating you on that. I'm
I'm not changing the subject. It's just when you keep saying it's unique, you can't when you say
it is unique, bro, because it's not true for no one else.
I'm not, yes, but you can't say that one thing is unique when the direct cause of it is unique to us too.
All of it is unique. It don't change the fact that it's unique.
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not, and also, and once again, I'm not fighting you with this. I'm just trying to make sure in these conversations, a lot of Fairmont, I don't know how much you heard us. A lot of times when we talk about black people in these conversations, we will literally just remove certain aspects of society that have caused these things: socioeconomic status, redlining, scientific racism, all of these different things. Now, here's the thing: I'm the person that'll literally tell you all the time that there's something that we need to be able to look past, and you're not used as an excuse. But in this particular case, I know for a fact that it is a direct, our socioeconomic status is a direct correlation to these numbers. These, I get people telling me all the time, we should be able to say anything we want because of dogs and hoses and all of that. And I don't agree to none of that. But I'm saying these homicide rates, though, in a concentrated small pocket, and it has to be a social issue if 1% in any city is 70%.
Yeah,
it has to be.
That
means a small pocket of any race commits the majority of the homicides. We're not unique to that.
No, we are unique in the sense of homicides being our number one cause of death.
Yeah, that's unique. Yeah, that's unique in our race, but that don't make it black on black crime. It is.
It's black on black in the sense that it's amongst black people.
But you'd have to ask why.
It's not like the number one cause of death is homicide and 50% are white men killing us. The number one cause of death is homicide from another black person. That's what
part of it? How many people 15 to 27 make up all the black men in the United States? If those are the people that's majority committing the murders, I want to know what's the percentage. What is 50? Let me look this up. 15 to 30. Y'all go ahead. 15.
I'm trying to get a question in there too, because
go ahead.
The way I see the way I see black people in crime is I see it directly related to some of those adversities that are put in our way, right? Like I think it's more of a product of uh, of poverty and miseducation and lack of opportunity than it is, they just want to be criminals. You know what
No,
I'm saying? So when I follow that line of logic, I can't then go
Y'all think
on to
niggas that
start.
poor?
No, I'm not even that they're that poor, but I'm
Don't let
saying
him
the
throw
higher
you off with
crime,
that silly
the
ass
higher
answer.
crime areas. Yeah, the higher crime areas. I'm assuming are going to be in your lower income areas. That's an assumption. You can correct me if I'm wrong.
No, that's
But what
that's correct.
I just threw it out there. I'm moving on. So that's how I look at it. So I can't then follow that logic and then later on go on and accuse them of bad behavior when whole time I understand their behavior is a product of circumstances that are imposed on those people. Right now, are there things, of course, that we can clean up? Yes, but let's not completely remove some of this. Actually, is done on purpose, right? Like some of that, there's no coincidence who's poor. You know what I'm saying? So there being a connection between, people committing crimes and being within a certain poverty threshold. There's no coincidence. It's there's some purpose to it. So I can't remove that. You know what I'm
I
saying?
need
So
to
when
ask y'all.
when you evaluate it, it sounds like you're removing that. Go ahead.
Are you saying me or Chef?
I need to ask y'all. No, I need to
Pharaoh ain't
ask
doing
y'all what is the reason for the murders in the black community? What is the reason for that?
Man, they pay billions.
If y'all going to tell
You
me
can't explain that.
it's social economic, you dig what I'm saying, or lack of job? What could be the reason for it? It got to be.
You said what could be the reason for what?
For the murders in the black community.
That's a good question, but it's so
Because it
complex.
can't just be
like the FBI,
the poverty.
they pay consultation firms billions of dollars to figure shit out like that. We ain't gonna figure it out.
Well, what do you assume is the reason, Chef? Hold up. Oh, what would you say the reason? I just told you what I think. What do you think?
I know what Chef gonna say.
I know the literal answer.
I done heard you say mental issues and stuff today.
Yeah, I think it's the culture. You dig what I'm saying? We listen to our music, the things that our kids engage in. All of these things that is bad cultural practices. You know what I mean?
Well, which one of those formed independently of those adversities that are imposed upon us?
See, well, that's your reason. I don't even understand that.
Finish your thought. I ain't want to throw you off.
Listen. Here's my answer. Concentrated poverty. Anywhere where you see concentrated poverty, you can go to the favelas in Brazil, you can go to the White Appalachian Mountains, you can go to St. Louis, you can go to Memphis. Anywhere where you see something like that, you're going to see a high homicide rate.
No, that's not
high
accurate.
Homicide. Okay, so let me ask you a question, Fairmont. Homicide is tied more strongly to race or poverty?
I would say it's a combination. Because poverty doesn't necessarily denote crime. Poverty doesn't denote homicide. You have communities that have high rates of crime that's poor, but they don't have the same homicide rate.
Okay.
So
that means it's genetic. That means it's as in our genes.
I'm not saying that it's genetic. I think it's a combination of the.
Well, if you say it's in our race, if you say it's like a product of our race, that would be genetic.
You saying
oh yeah, let me clarify. Let me clarify. That's not what I'm. What I'm trying to say is that it's a combination of social, economic, and cultural consequences.
No, it's poverty, bro. How
you start off saying race?
Yeah, what?
I spoke by mistake.
I think it's street peer pressure.
You definitely did.
It's that street peer pressure. Ain't nobody trying to be a marine biologist out in the street.
Y'all cuss them out. I all got the energy.
I mean,
I don't disagree with it.
I mean,
I don't know what to, I don't know what to say about that,
He's
Joe.
talking about the
Can I chime in just a
English.
little bit?
Yes, Johnson, please chime in. Please.
Is
Please.
Brass, I just want to say you was incorrect about that disparity point. That's all I said.
No, that's fine, brother. That's fine. That's fine. That's cool.
Please, Najasi.
I ain't gonna fight
Please.
You know, there's no way to bridge all the different perspectives and analysis that's been put on the table because this is what Chef asked
it's
is a
very
hard
difficult.
inquiry. Yeah, it's difficult because there's people who's made their careers, and like Brad said, they get contracted for years to try to investigate what comes first, the chicken or the egg. Is it poverty? Is it pathology? What's causing the homicide and the murders and the crimes? But one of the things that we're kind of sometimes we create a misnomer with is that we use causation when causation, according to some of these scholars, is not the right term. It's correlation. Can you correlate elevated statistics of homicide and poverty crimes, what we call like jackings and house break-ins and stuff, to poverty? Can you correlate that? And is there a correlation to race? And overwhelming evidence and data shows that yes, there's a deep correlation. They won't go so far as to say there's causation, but there's deep correlation between how a person's racial identity and makeup and their propensity to experience homicide, be the victims of it, or to perpetuate it. In that relationship, there's a deep correlation between race and the social conditions and the political disenfranchisement that a group of people experience that create the trajectory of their experience, their racialized experience. That's where the term racialization comes in at. And so part of the argument that a lot of people land on is like what I hear from Chef oftentimes, where he says, no, this stuff is cultural. It's part of what we do and what we're not doing. And that's the pathological argument. That's the idea. You hear that from white conservatives to even some black folks, where they say the history has nothing to do with why that brother murdered that other brother, why he stole from that house, why he did what he did. It's all about the decisions that he made and the media that he's watching, the cartoons and the music, and his parents wasn't a good father and the mother father. And yeah, and it's like he has agency in that. And if he chose to make that decision, then the onus is on him. And so that's the pathological argument. Now, I would not say that there isn't an element of truth to that. The only element that I tend to pull out of that is that we still have to have agency, like Chef said, and we still have to take some responsibility in the inaction of how we address some of the issues in our community. However, there's also the contextual argument. The contextual argument is what Brass is trying to pull up. You have to draw the correlation between the social conditions of the people and how politics and economic decisions have created concentrated poverty that has subjected people to abject conditions that impacts their psychology, their well-being, their access to resources, and their ability to survive and adapt in that. And part of that survival and adaptation has been what Jawanza Kunjufu calls entropy, where we turn on ourselves to try to survive. And some of that is what we see in the murder rate. Some of that's the domestic violence. Some of that is the child abuse. Some of that is the what we call the economic crimes. And when you have a structure that's centered around a group of people to criminalize them and lock them up more because of that survival ability, then you go into the conversation of mass incarceration. Then you go into the conversation of railroading people into prison because of them trying to survive in the social conditions that they have. And so Michelle Alexander elevated in her research that a lot of the brothers who are locked up in prison are majority because of non-violent crimes and not violent crimes. And that's uniquely disproportionately different than other communities that we see who commits the same level of crimes and incidents. And so you can't separate these arguments from each other because they're complex, they're interwoven, and they're difficult to unfold. But if we side more on one than the other, then that means we're missing a huge important consideration that we have to have in order to understand and examine the conditions of our people and why we murder, why we suicide, why we hurt each other, because it's never just one answer. And the solution usually lands right there in the center somewhere. And I'll land there.
Jesse, let me say something.
Now, hold up. Now, you see how complicated that was, Brass? Now, remember, what did I say? What did I say before everybody came in here?
Go ahead, bro. What did you say?
I basically said it's going to be easy to take either the low road or the high road. It's going to be real. It's real easy to say. It's real easy to say F him and he got what he deserve, or nah, I'm just going to be the Pope and peace, love to everybody. But when you got to navigate all that nuance, I think you find the right answer a lot closer to the center than what you probably
you fall
wanted
in
to
the
be.
middle. No,
you probably wanted to be somewhere else, but it's probably a lot closer to the middle, and that's not an easy place to navigate with all the moving parts. You know what I'm saying? Because some of that stuff doesn't work out in your favor, but it just is real.
And when Johnson, let me give you these stats real quick. That's a good point, Logic, and you did say that to start the conversation. The reason, and this goes to Fairmont's point, but this is what I want y'all to understand about poverty and the correlation, right? Black Americans, about 23% of us live in concentrated poverty neighborhoods. Even though we make up about 51% below the poverty line, there's a difference in concentrated poverty neighborhoods. So about a quarter of all Black people live in concentrated poverty neighborhoods. White Americans only 4% live in those neighborhoods. So as Black people are 6 times more likely to grow up in that neighborhood. Now I'm going to correlate it to the violence. Because this is where the poverty comes into play. In white concentrated poverty areas, the Appalachians, the rural Midwest, and poor white pockets in cities, their homicide rates are comparable to inner city Black neighborhoods. Some Appalachian counties have homicide rates higher than Chicago's poorest Black neighborhoods. But the reason why the rates look different is because only a small fraction of whites live in concentrated poverty. Their average overall homicide rate stays low because you put these numbers across all whites. For Black people, a much larger share of that population is stuck in those neighborhoods, so the average looks higher. What you fail to realize is that the violence pattern applies to both groups. Homicide does not follow skin color, it follows concentrated poverty. Poor Black neighborhoods, high homicide. Poor white neighborhoods, high homicide. We're just in more concentrated poverty neighborhoods. It ain't got nothing to do with being Black, bro. There's nothing to do with being Black. Nothing to do with being Black. There's no race in murder and homicide. It's concentrated poverty. That's why I told you, go to the favelas in Brazil. See, y'all just from wherever y'all from, but in Ohio, you got there's a place called Youngstown. That's a white neighborhood, but it's a poor white neighborhood. They was calling that shit Murder Town, USA. And most of the victims
Don't nobody
and
live
offenders
in
were white.
Youngstown?
Shut your ass up. Fuck. I wish I wasn't in public. I'd cut you out right now. But like the Ozarks in Missouri and Arkansas. No, go. I guarantee you, it's a lot
What's
of
the
murder.
population of Youngstown?
Oh God, man. Listen, bro. Listen, if you ain't got the point, you ain't got it. New England,
Kelly
Milltown, rural deep south.
Kelly Pat from Youngstown.
Yeah, you all you know, you make the weirdest correlations because of boxing.
That's the only time I've heard about the motherfucking Youngstown.
But I'm telling you, it's the poverty, bro. If you can find the same homicide rates in poor, concentrated poverty white neighborhoods that you find in poor, concentrated Black neighborhoods, but it's a quarter of us in there and it's only 4% in there, I'm following the poverty and the structural disadvantage of socioeconomic status, not the race. It ain't Black. It's not Black on Black. Y'all go ahead. I hate to fuck up the conversation with actual information.
No, you didn't. And that's in so many words, I probably diluted and said too much. when I was trying to explain that.
No.
But
That's a
that's
great point.
essentially that's what I'm saying, because there's a complex arguments that's made around that. And where I tend to look at the people who talks about the pathological argument around these issues, I don't agree with them. But what I do say is that it's hard to be inactive with that argument when we're saying that, yes, we have to take into the consideration the political, social, historical. That's what I preach and teach from. That's my practice. But I don't rely the solution there. I try to say, like, somewhere in our culture lies the answer. Somewhere within our makeup and our resilience and the social factors, we have to make decisions to be active around addressing the development of Black males so they have some sense of grounded stability and identity for themselves and ethical development so they not leaning towards those type of decisions. We have to address our young ladies so they're growing up in some deep levels of femininity so they know how to conduct themselves in society and build cultural practice and human practices around themselves. So that way we're looking at our own culture and our own practices and our own psychologies and our own well-being within ourselves to affect what's happening to social, political, and economic level. So that's why I say that we can't entirely ignore the people who says,
when you say the culture is a reflection,
it's always a reflection.
When Ice Cube and them was saying fuck the police and all of that, they were saying that as a reflection of what was happening, not what they was pushing. Correct or no? Am I off based on that?
Wait, I'm confused. No, I might be confused.
I'm saying with culture, because see, you know the danger with culture is because then it makes it sound like it's something inherently wrong with us. And when it's such a small section of the population,
I disagree with that.
I think that culture is the reflection of what's going on, not necessarily the cause of it. It's like the drill era.
Gotcha.
That's a reflection of the neighborhood. It ain't no cause. When you say cause, music might. I mean, music is. I don't look at it that way. And I don't think.
No, I don't either. No, I agree with you.
Yeah, because
I just figured it out. It's poor on poor, bro. It's poor on poor crime, man. That's basically what you're saying.
But let me help Brass with the distinguishing. The culture, see, that's what I said. That's the pathological argument. When we say, oh, it's the culture of the people, we can look back in like 2013, and Paul Ryan said the same thing in a speech that he did when he was the head of the Republican convention. He talked about the culture of inner city people, and we know what that means. You know who he's referring to, and that they've been using the same language around that to say that it's Black folks and who they are that makes them kill one another and have all these babies and do drugs and blah, 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 blah. No, but in that space, not him, but when Black folks internally is having that conversation around our own systemic dialogue, it's within that culture that we have to find solution, not correlation or cause. It's solution. We have to turn internally within ourselves to be able to change those social conditions. That's what I mean. That's the clear difference. And that's why I'm saying I disagree with Chef when his conclusion is always like, it's culture. We just fucked up. But I may not agree with him on that, but I agree that the solution lies in us internally figuring out what we have to do to address not only who we are as a people, but how do we start making different political and economic decisions. That's what I mean. That's the distinction.
I think we should also I think we should just look at how we make what drives our decision making. You know, because you can go into a neighborhood that's rough, but then some people will get out and some people won't. So it might be a good thing to just look at what are decision motivating factors in those neighborhoods. And then, because you can make some decisions, even in the midst of all that craziness, you can make the decision not to shoot somebody. You can make a decision to do something else. So that might be something to look at. Hello?
Yeah. We still here?
Hello?
Yeah, we're still here. Brother still here?
Oh yeah, I was done.
You.
I don't know what happened, but I was done.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, I think you're right. There's some thoughts on that too, especially how we navigate our own lives and stuff like that. I hear you, bro, in terms of that piece. But I think um these conversations are difficult. They're not, they're not like Brad said earlier, we can't solve this within this one conversation. It's not even virtually possible. I tend to side on the reality because of the research that I've conducted and the data that I've looked at is that, we can explain a lot of the social psychological um, behaviors of Black folks in America by understanding what happened to us historically, by understanding what happened to us politically, by understanding what happened to us economically, and looking at the social and political engineering of our current existence today. And I believe that gives us a lot of information that correlates to why Black folks show up in the ways that we show up today. I don't think you could separate the two. When you look at a young 16-year-old brother from South Minneapolis or Baltimore, Chicago, South Chicago, whatever, and you look at some of the assets and the resources and his ability to be able to affect in his life, 16-year-old young brother from his parents. You can't separate 16-year-old young brother from his parents' conditions and their uh, great current, but you can't separate that. It all correlates and impacts his ability to be able to have, to be able to access, and to be able to resource today. And so I think that's critically important for us to understand and examine how we make moves and find solutions to some of the situations we're dealing with today, whether it's homicide, domestic violence, suicide, all of that is part of that conversation.
Let me ask you a question. How do you think about well, I think that groupthink is we have too much groupthink in our communities. We just have a lot of groupthink. So if one has a bad idea, everybody, groupthink, right? Everybody just tags along on it. But what do you think about having too much groupthink and not too much of individualism and people just, thinking on their own and making their own decisions as opposed to just going with um I want to call it peer pressure.
Mm-hmm.
I want to call it peer like street peer pressure. Like, people aren't looking to be a marine biologist. They're not looking to be some sort of genetic uh specialist, or everyone's looking to do something like really not fruitful. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just curious to know about that the group think versus individual thinking. Some people, like some folks, don't believe that we got to get together always, and I don't really believe that we have to get together. I think we just have to individually think for ourselves and what our individual situations are, how we grew up, and make decisions off of that, not off of group think situation. That's my thoughts.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's good insight. I don't know if how much I've thought about it, and now that I'm hearing, I was going to ask you what's your definition of groupthink, but now that I kind of get some clarity on what you're saying, I'd be curious to hear what you're. I mean, I really don't know to answer that question directly. I don't know. I haven't thought about it enough because I'm curious on when you're supporting someone's inspiration to pursue a profession or a career or something like that, do we give our children or whoever we're encouraging the freedom to decide whatever they want to do, or do we want to encourage them to align to something that benefits the group, the collective? Like, I'm gonna throw that up in the air to what you're thinking, because we see different communities have they're on different spectrums of how they do that. There's some communities, ethnic groups of people here that says, look, you ain't got no decision in this. You're gonna be an engineer. You're gonna be a doctor. you're going to be a lawyer. You have no choice. If we're going to pay for you, if you're going to build off of our family legacy and wealth to be able to access what we're offering you, then you're going to have to become that profession. And this is good for not only the family, but the collection of the people. But then you have other people who's like, whatever you choose to do and whatever direction you want to go in is all up to you, as long as you do something good for yourself. And so I don't know. Yeah, go ahead, sir.
Majestic, big up yourself. I love you. I love you as an intellectual.
Likewise, my brother.
You can put into words that I can't. I struggle to formulate the proper wording of certain situations. You know, when you're the basic sociology, the first definition you learn about is community and society. And society and community don't exist outside of a group. It's a group of people coming together sharing same morals and values. Right? That's a basic definition. I did that 30 years ago, so please excuse me if I don't get the definition verbatim. Right? No.
Yes, sir.
The group has always existed, and people has always existed in the group for the benefit of the group.
Yes, sir.
When persons are not beneficial to the group, they get ostracized and they get placed outside the group. So when people come and say they don't believe in group thing, is that societies and communities don't exist without group thinking.
Well, here's the nuance. Here's the nuance to that. That may work for certain countries, but in America's built for individualism. It's not built for groups. Any kind of group. Well, hang on. Let me finish. Don't get emotional. Let me finish my point. Is what I'm saying. So when you're trying to like make a path for your life, you know, you really ought to just draw from your community, but you draw from them as like a little bit of encouragement, help, assistance, but ultimately you need to make your own decisions about what you want to do, about your legacy and your following generations. You can't allow a community to tell you what to do.
So let me teach you on this. The American dream is a group dream, regardless of your professional, because the professional is to satisfy the American dream. It was sold on TV to us from Little House on the Prairie, where you have that house with the dog that look like Lassie, the wife in the housewife in the apron serving the chicken, and the white picket fence. When you think that you're doing something individually, you have already been programmed to act in accordance to the group. While you might have decision on the profession that you choose to do, if that profession don't fulfill what the group wants to fulfill, meaning that you're not selling the white picket fence and the chicken in every pot and this idealistic look, the group is going to ostracize you. The group is going to ostracize you. Young man, how old are you? Can I ask? Because you need to read more and you need to observe more. And you need to realize that you decided to be a lawyer, teacher, a doctor, or an Indian chief. It's okay within the group. The group makes accommodation for those dynamics as long as it fulfills the end goal of the group, that you're going to conform to the group, that you're going to be a nice middle class citizen. You'll be okay.
None of that groupthink is working for us, at least.
No, you're changing you're changing the dynamics of the argument. So that
none of that groupthink is working at all. It's not working.
But dude, you know what you do? You listen to respond. You don't listen to learn.
I know what I did. I know what I told my kids to do. I said, you better get to college, get something, get a school, you're not going to be just hanging around out here. So I told him, you need to not be following, I that's what I did. And so that's where they're at. So groupthink is not good. Groupthink, it doesn't work, man. It hasn't worked. Like the groupthink in the community is shitty.
But that's what everybody tells
you hear the community. You know what the groupthink? the group thinks they want to be, they actually think they're Egyptians. They actually think they're Hebrews. They actually think they're American Indians. They actually think that's ridiculous. That's all ridiculous. Foundational Black Americans don't do shit. Like, what is all this? They don't do anything. They get together and talk online. Make their own social media, fish bowls. They don't really do any impact to the community. Nothing is working.
Dude, you're a group thinker. You don't even know it. You're a group thinker.
I am. Yeah. The group. Well, listen to me. Let me explain.
You don't even know.
Can I explain? Can I explain my group thing? Can I explain my group thing? The group think I mean is the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. That's my group. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights. First, Fourth, Fifth Amendments, Sixth Amendments. That's my group.
Dude, no disrespect, but you need 20 years of life experience before you can have a conversation. You have zero life.
All right, Mr. Know-It-All.
I'm not Mr. Know-It-All, but you need 20 years of life experience.
You're acting like you know more than me. Like, are you more successful than me? Are you more successful? Do you know if you're more successful than me in life? You don't know that. I don't know. Wait a minute. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know if I'm successful. I don't know if you're successful. You can't tell me if I know less or more than you.
I didn't say that. I said you need more life experience. I didn't
How
say.
do you know that? How do you know that you're absolutely right?
Because how you argue a point. You argue against group.
It's not about how I act. Look at the community. Look at the community, how they act. Not me. Look at the community, how they act, not me.
You know, my brother, I'm not sure if I got your name. Are you Tony? I'm not by my phone.
Yeah, I'm Tony.
Okay, brother Tony. So I hear what you're saying. I mean, there's a large element of disagreement that I humbly respect between you and what I may share and view, and that's good because it's good for discourse. I think the position I tend to try to uncover and in some of these dialogues is what is our idea around collective identity? How do we identify? And when we talk about groupthink, sometimes I hear, not from you, entirely, but other people, is that there's this disagreement or this pushback or this contention with identifying with a larger body of groups, a collective idea. And some people position themselves to be like, yo, I agree with the ideology of America that is our ability to pursue life, liberty, and happiness, and have this individual freedom to be able to examine whatever I want to choose to do in life. And that's fine if that's what your creed is. I think when we look and examine at the position, let's say African Americans here, I'm always looking at what is our movement to build a collective identity and how much of that has been a complicated conversation over the trajectories of our generations. Because that's been one of the number one nucleuses of discourse that we've had that's been internally difficult for us to identify and be able to make movements politically and socially and internally for that collective. And so some of us just say, fuck the collective. It's about me, a family, and that's all I'm concerned about. And then there's other people who say, well, I'm going to commit myself to being the best professional in service and making a career to serve the collection of my people. And so in the midst of that, I don't know if I can qualify and say that our pursuit to try to adhere to collective identity or a group thinking translates into being Egyptians and all of this other stuff. I think you can make an argument for some of that. But I think there's some people who generally identify themselves as being African American, and what that means for them is a heritage of a unique experience. Some will say today a lineage, a culture, and a peoplehood. And that peoplehood is related to certain things that I choose to do to serve that peoplehood, which is very similar and congruent to other groups of people who establish their idea of peoplehood and tend to work and serve and better themselves for the collective of that peoplehood. And this translate down to the micro conversation of the family, which is what Stu Pease was trying to elevate. That there's a conversation we have to have when we're socializing and raising our own children of like, when you go out and pursue this, there's an obligation you have to the family in terms of economic, financial, and resource development and your professionalism. And then there's an obligation you have to your collective people in some way. And it doesn't mean you work, so that's the piece that I think comes up in these conversations. I'll land there. Go ahead.
I totally agree that every ethnicity should have their own little, community, to get together, but they shouldn't be like, how do I say it? Like they shouldn't guide your personal family decisions. They shouldn't. You should be able to make your own reasonable decisions within you and your family. And of course, you look at the community, but I believe that if you focus on what I just said, like your own decision, what affects your family, forget what everybody else, what the result will be is that you're going to have those kind of families in the community. And it's just going to be more people thinking that way in a community. And then that becomes a strong community.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for that. I think, but the question is if you have, and I'm gonna put it in different terms. If you have strong, stable, grounded families that builds up community, does that automatically, and I'm asking you this, does that translate that strong collection of families that have some individual self-sufficiency and stabilization, does that translate into a community that collectively identify with each other, share common values, and share histories and connections to where they're operating and attempting to operate in one accord? Do you think that translate into that peoplehood development?
Absolutely. I think if that was to happen, I think the culture will get stronger in a positive way. Look at.
So you think? Go ahead.
What will result is a bunch of positive things that is actually indicative and representative of the Black community, which the real Black community. Not what we're seeing right now. I'm the real Black community. People that love their kids, their families. They want to, this thing.
Jesse, big up yourself always. Always big up yourself. Always big up yourself. I see what you're attempted to do, but the language might be a little bit too convoluted to understand that, to compare and contrast the individual to the community. Whether or not a community full of individuals with individualistic ideas will share common goal. I don't speak English well, but I understand it. And I can write it. But I cannot speak it. It's a brain block for me. No. I understand where you're coming from. And I understand that you did sociology, among other things. And when you look at communities all the way back, there's always an intrinsic core. There's always a core or a value system that is shared within its member. I tell my son this when they was having a conversation that when you're born, whether you like it or not, you sign a social contract with the community that you live with, that you live in, that you're born to. And that social contract says, I will adhere to what this community is. Now, sometimes you have outliers Who pushed the barriers? Who changed certain things? Like women weren't allowed to vote. They have outliers who say that is unfair. We're going to change that within our community. And I'm using the word community holistically. I'm not referring to a small group of people. Because a country is actually a community. And a bigger sense of things. I always have outliers in that who push the barriers, who makes change. But it was never individualistic change. Because the whole is greater than the one. So when somebody say, I am an individual, no, there's no community with one individual. That's why loners can't make change. Lone wolves can't make change. Change is made within communities. And if we look back at it that way, that's
I'm
why.
not saying communities are inherently bad.
I'm not saying that to you, dude.
Community is. I'm not saying communities are inherently bad. I'm saying ours
Hold on,
is.
Tony, let's do peace finish. Let's do peace finish.
Sorry,
Go ahead, do peace.
No, what I'm saying is that, and I lost the train of thought, but to say this is that when we strengthen our community, we're strengthening values that would apply to the upliftment of the community. When Brass come in here and him talk about financial health and financial responsibility, Brass not talking about himself alone. The outlier who decided that, listen, I think this would work for the betterment of the community. He's not saying that I am okay, I have 200 houses, so if you don't have 200 houses, you're not a part of my community. No, he's saying that I'm going to help other people within my community. He's an outlier, but he's trying to push the barriers. Right. And that's what people need to understand about communities, is that we have to share a similar goal. And that's what Malcolm tried. That's what Martin tried. That's what even W.E. Du Bois tried, where he tried to segment the community by saying that these people will do the work when it's everybody. Because community is not 10 people within a community. It's everybody. It's from the lowest of low to the highest of high. And it has to be inclusive. Always. But I think I can't, my head hurt me. My head hurt me, and I promise I'm not going to cuss out anybody. I promise myself I'm not going to cuss out anybody for the week. But Monday I have one cuss out. And I'm saving that cuss out. But I have one cuss out a week. Yeah, saving that cuss out
a week.
One cuss out a week. Yeah.
Big up to you, my brother. Big up to you.
I appreciate you, Stu. I know we got at times we got a whole pan.
He just full of fire. Me or
keep it together. So, that's what's up. Go ahead, Mujasa. I ain't want to say nothing.
Hey, Stu P, I got a question for you.
Yeah.
We currently have a community right now. Okay, we have a Black community right now. So what is wrong with, is the community functioning, or what do you think should change, or what? Because we got a community right now.
No, we have a community. We have a community that is experiencing a lot of stresses or stressors, a lot of interaction from external forces, a lot of divide within the community. But we have a community at its core. And other people, as I mentioned earlier, like Brass, see a problem within the community because this community don't have one fix to it. It's fragmented. This community is fragmented. Let me finish to ask my question. Yeah, ask my question. So therefore, we have to be patching the holes as we move along. So we identify them and we strengthen our community. It's going to take time. But when this person comes with this magic bullet to say, oh, Democrats is the reason why this community is this way or that, and you really look at it, and you say,
what's the first thing, if you have the ability to do something about what would be the first thing you do?
Well, if I had an individual idea, as I said, what Brass said, was to refer to the financial aspect of it. Because my idea might not be the best idea. So I'm going to draw from the best people around me and listen to their ideas. And I'm going to copy it. But what I'm going to give them credit. Yes, because in the American society, money play a vital part in how and where you live. So if you can increase the financial level of individual.
How do you do
can
that?
move them out of areas.
Move them out?
Yeah. You can move them out of unhealthy areas. Communities are not restricted to an area.
Move them out.
And then within that area, you can develop it with the other people that are left.
You said move them out.
Yeah, because I believe that we have overcrowding in our communities.
Move them where?
America big. America big.
Come on, Stu. Come
America
on.
big. Them can live anywhere. Black people can live anywhere.
Like that.
Black people can live anywhere. And I'm not saying people. All right, let me change it because I said my English is not good. People can move to other areas, and people within that area.
How about education? The ability to take your kids to any school you want.
What is education? Define education to you.
School, high school, kindergarten, college, to go any school you want.
What about skills?
Meaning, well, that too.
Skills.
Yes.
No,
yes.
We like to use education. What about skills?
Answer that one though. What about
commerce? What about commerce?
Wait.
The thing that you're saying that what is important to you? What is important to you? You ask a single, but education. If I have an educated population without the resources to employ or to provide resources for those people to be entrepreneurs, what difference it make? What difference it make?
I'm going to tell you.
Yeah.
Not only educated people, but very resourceful, and
that's two things you're talking about. Now.
Wait.
You said one. You said one. You're using two examples.
Well, you're not gonna let me answer though. Like that's
all right.
the whole
So
thing.
You can use one. You said what is the one thing, and you're saying education. And I'm saying
education.
Right. Mm-hmm. And what did I say? I would use Brass' idea. What Brass is saying?
It's a combination of stuff.
No, you said one. You can't move the goalposts. You asked me what's the one thing I would do. So I'm asking you what the one thing that you would do. And you said you'd educate all your people.
Well, I would give them the freedom to go to any education institution they want.
And then afterwards, how do they get employed?
They become very good at what they do, right?
And get employed by who?
And then it's a merit system. Or what I did is get out of that whole system entirely and start my own business.
Merit system in America.
And start my own business. That's what I did.
I'm coming off because I'm about to cuss out somebody, so I'm going on mute.
Yeah, I don't know if you can fight the merit system, Stu Pease. I don't know if you can mount a defense against that.
Say? You guys get so emotional.
He being funny. He's being funny. He's just gracefully bowing out the conversation. I mean, I too find it kind of far-fetched to say that I can trust America to work off the merit system. I don't.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That don't even sound right.
I agree. That's why I started my own business.
But that will require a lot of faith and trust in the system that doesn't have a track record of.
I agree. Let me tell you my story. I agree. Let me tell you my story. I worked for American Express, Bank of America, Xerox, big corporate companies, right? I knew my shit, but I kept on being overlooked, for nepotism, this, that, or the other, not having enough brownie point. I wasn't like that. So I got tired of it. So I got tired of like all this bullshit. And I felt a little bit, like these white folks are all the way up here. Like, I see the movements, people are, what's going on here. I can't get out of this. I'm going to start my own business. That's what I did. We all can do that, So I'm not complaining about this country. I know how it is, other countries are a lot worse. That's not an excuse. But what I did, I'm going to start my own business. It'll take a little while, but I did. And that's where I'm at. So you have that ability. Everyone has that ability to like make decisions like that. Like, fuck these motherfuckers. I don't give a fuck. I'm gonna start my own little business, and it worked for me. That's what I did.
That's good that it worked for you. I think that I would even have to say I've come around in saying everybody isn't cut out to be an entrepreneur.
Agreed. But they gotta try. At least try. If you don't try, at least
Right. So you can't right. So long term, you can't devise a plan that hinges on a large
No. That was
a
no.
large population of entrepreneurs because it may not be for everybody.
No, I
So
agree.
you would have to incorporate stuff for people who just don't have the aptitude or whatever the discipline, all that stuff that it would take to be a successful entrepreneur. So
And that's
you
fine.
can't leave
That's
out
fine.
other people.
No, I'm not leaving out anyone. That's what I'm saying. It's not for everyone, but like if you're really that fed up about the white folks and working for people, you really every day talking about it, and you haven't paid $50 to start your own little stupid business doing whatever, like then I don't know what people are talking about. But what I'm
Well,
saying,
what if you don't get fed up until you're 65 or you have an injury and now you can't work so hard, right? Like you still got to incorporate other people. You know
you
what I'm saying?
shouldn't.
That's what I'm saying. Like like I
It's
mean
never too
I
late.
get it. I get it, and I can be as shrewd as anybody. But I'm saying like you would have to at least have something for some way for them to be participating in it too. Because if you don't, well, when the people actually do get what they're looking for, they're gonna say,
Oh
"Nigga,
yeah,
you ain't
I'm
doing
not into.
shit."
I'm not
Right?
into exclusion.
We already deal with classism, so you would be needing to
But I'm
try
not.
to bridge both of those gaps.
I'm not into. I'm
I'm
not.
all right.
You're framing. You're framing an argument of exclusion. I haven't said anything about exclusion. I'm saying what I would do if I was tired of the man. I would start my own business. But the original thing was, what do you do in a community? Like, you know what I'm saying? What would be the first thing that you can do? Like, to change things. It has to be education, where it be, trade school or like, whatever it is. You got to learn something. You know what I mean? And I think if people in the community were able to take their kids to different schools that are not in the community, any school they wanted, I think that would be a good step.
For sure. It's complicated. I really don't think that there's a right answer, but I would say that there's a right mentality. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because when the first time Stu Peace brought up W.B. Du Bois, it kind of was difficult for me to like listen to what he was saying. But I guess the more that conversation kind of flushed out, I understand more about the point that he was making about he was actually being a bit more divisive or creating division. He saw the division within black people to be a part of like progress, right? He wanted to identify and isolate and promote the talented tenth, right? Which of course takes all the limelight off of the little people, who just work down in the factory. But those little people who work down at those factory, we need those people to support those 10, that 10%. We need them to also be behind it. So they can't be totally left out, or you'll just end right back up where you started in classism. And those black elites will feel separate from those, black just working class people.
That's the thing. If you have the ability to take your child to whatever school you feel or he feels or she feels best, and take them out of the schools in the
But
community that
you keep saying that like do they just not let you in the door, or are you talking about
well,
the fact that they
schools are
price you out of it, or what are you
like,
saying like
well,
they can't?
you're normally only allowed to go to schools in your district, like your area.
What are you talking about? High schools?
Schools, yeah, school, high school, any school.
Okay, I'm thinking you're talking about college or something else, but go ahead.
Yeah, so if you have the ability to move your kid from an inner city school that doesn't have a lot of resources for whatever reason, doesn't have the resources, and say, I want my kid in this school that has a lot of resources. I mean, I think that'll be a difference. I mean, I think it's gotta be an education, and we gotta start with the young kids, because the older guys are gone. They're not. Mm-mm.
I don't know.
And my bad to jump in and derail the convo.
Nah, by all means.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not really that familiar with Kirk, but I just uploaded a video of him talking with I guess a black liberal student, and the dialogue wasn't as contentious as I thought it would be before clicking on it. And Kirk may have been, I'm not trying to defend him or nothing. He definitely sounds like a wild guy, but he was he said like, I'm not I see a black person individual. I don't want to judge you preconceived. I want to see what you bring to the table. So it sounds like, especially like with DEI and a lot of the convos, I could be wrong. I'm like 10 minutes in the video. Sounds like he just promotes meritocracy. And a lot of policies he's discussing is probably isn't. I don't know, but what he's saying, what he's talking with this black student I'm watching in this video is actually a good dialogue, and they're letting each other speak. They respecting each other. So that's all I was asking. Did anybody watch that part?
No, I didn't watch it, but I actually find the term meritocracy a bit offensive in a way, because it's like, to me,
everything is
damn. To me, it's like you veiling. It's like a veil that you could use, right? You say meritocracy as. Let me explain what I'm saying.
Go ahead.
You say meritocracy as if you can detach everybody in the environment and give them equal start, equal footing.
That's what people mess it up. Well, people who promote meritocracy, a lot of them ain't even saying that. They're saying create pipelines to find the best quote unquote African Americans you feel that are underrepresented. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, that person has to be there based off their merit and not having a quota. Because some people are saying when you emphasize inclusion of a particular group, the direct byproduct or result of that is going to be exclusion. So that's why you got people, a lot of Asians or just certain people.
Man,
Go ahead.
That would disproportionately affect one group over another, because it's like if my dad is an NBA player and he can afford to put a basketball goal in his backyard, like I got a head start that the kids, you know what I'm saying, that can't afford to do that have. You know what I'm saying? Like you'll almost never be able to catch me if I'm taking that serious. You know what I'm saying? I just can get up more shots than you anytime I feel like.
Don't black people do that as well, though?
But I'm saying, like in larger numbers, that works against us. You get what I'm saying? When you look at the larger population, they can afford to give themselves that head start and take advantage of that meritocracy in a way that we can't.
No, I see what you're saying. I think a lot of people have
basically never will
when it comes to meritocracy. Like I think America as a country does need to emphasize, like, all at the same time. They need to create a framework that emphasizes meritocracy, because again, in education, y'all was talking about schools, middle school, high school. When you talk about the Department of Education and certain educators in certain states, they don't emphasize AP classes and outlier students and shit like that. They got this idea that everyone is the same. Take race out of it. Every individual is the same, and if you give them the same, whatever, they would be the same, and that's just not true, bro. It's just not true. So I'm saying, like, that thought that you have isn't wrong, but everybody that promotes meritocracy isn't going down the avenue that you're speaking of by not being unaware of these certain things that you're saying. They're just trying to create a framework saying, hey man, as America, we kind of leaning a little too far on the extreme if we not gonna emphasize, where, what I mean? That's so.
No, I feel you. I feel you. I would just be concerned that the drivers behind meritocracy would be different drivers than behind equality.
You can have
or equity, for that matter.
You can have meritocracy within a community.
Right.
I mean, but it would make more sense among a community where things are considerably equal, right? Because if not, you're basically subjecting some people to start the race with a head start. I mean, I don't like if y'all acknowledging that that's a part of meritocracy. Like, how could you like think meritocracy could be like work in your favor when you know predominantly we don't get this head start? I don't understand.
When people say meritocracy, I laugh. Meritocracy is a catchword. If we look on a whole, most black people will never achieve meritocracy in America. It is not promoted. If so, black women will be in the highest position in America because
Hello?
black
Hello?
women is the most educated group.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead.
Can you hear
Yeah.
me?
Yes,
Oh,
I
okay.
can.
All right.
Black women,
Okay, I'm sorry.
black women
I
is
think
the
my
most educated group. So
think
my
they would have
signal went
all of the
out.
highest.
Did y'all hear any of that?
No,
Hello?
we're
Hello?
just getting back. We're just getting back too.
Damn.
It wasn't just you.
Okay.
I guess
Hello? Hello?
Discord
Hello?
must have had a hiccup for a second.
Yeah, I
Mujasa,
see
you
what
might have to come by to
I
leave out
see
and
what
come
you're
back.
saying, bro. Like I'm not nobody's trying to undermine what you're saying.
The
Like
last
those
thing I
are
remember, at least what I said, was the meritocracy. I mean, that
Yo,
you
did
can
you
have.
just hear him talking, yo?
Oh no, I'm sorry. No, I don't hear him.
Oh no, you good, go
No,
ahead.
that's why I'm asking you because Mujasa sound like he having the same problem. We might. I'm gonna back out and come back in.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
what
can
I
y'all
did.
hear me now?
No, everybody
I don't
can
hear
hear each
him.
other. People just
I
no,
don't hear
y'all
Freddie
doing this
either.
shit on purpose.
Hello? Can y'all hear me now?
Y'all doing this shit.
Yeah,
We can hear
I can hear
you.
you.
Oh, well,
Okay.
Jesse got
Okay, yeah.
exclamation point.
Okay.
Yo,
Okay,
I
can
don't know what that
can y'all hear
means.
me?
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead,
we can
Fetty.
hear you, Fatty.
All right.
I
If
don't
you
hear him.
all I was gonna say was that when a person wants to promote, again, two things can be true.
Go
I think
crazy.
you can address the things you're talking about, logic, like a lot of the things that comes with if you have a fully meritocratic mindset, and you have to be mindful of those things. But again, people and experts are trying to create new frameworks every day to address both issues, because you can admit that the intent of DEI and the results of what's going on are two different things. You did shows on that. So obviously the intent was had good intentions or whatever, but results are a whole different thing. So when you got people who want to value, even in the black community, yo, we don't have to lower our standards, especially when you talk about standardized tests or college admissions. Why do we have to lower standards to fit a quota when we can
Yeah,
just
I forgot
find
about that.
when we can just create healthy pipelines for African Americans that are that score as well as other people, and create a balanced system that way. That
That costs
kills
no
like
money.
go ahead.
Costs no.
Up a little bit.
Dang, what's up with Discord today, man? This audio's not
You
working for the
sound
brother.
just fine. You sound just
Right, but
fine, bro.
I think Chef was about to say something.
How do you
I
see it
don't.
unfolding, Mujasi? I feel like it'd be very difficult to convince me meritocracy works well for black or doesn't disproportionately work better for white people.
Right,
I
that's what
can't
I
see it
was.
not doing that.
That's what I was trying to say earlier until the audio got messed up. Is that it's difficult because I mean I get what Brother Fetty is saying. I know there's some people that's trying to um, change the discourse around meritocracy and say that theoretically it can work if we do this and do that. But most of it is theory. Most of it is not projected with data. Most of it is not projected with any grounding experiences from history and our current political situation. So a lot of it
There
is a
is.
projection.
No,
A lot of it is
no.
a
This
lot of
one
it is
thing. My bad to
projection.
cut you. It's a framework
Let me
called
let me let
inclusive
me land
excellence.
here because let me land
And let's
here
interrupt
because
you. Go ahead.
yeah, I don't want to necessarily. I'm not dismissing or I may have an element of disagreement with what you're saying, Freddie, but I don't want to dismiss what you're saying because I know that there's different peoples trying to elevate meritocracy to say that if we equalize the playing field and create resource access to people being able to access higher education, job opportunities, career opportunities, and industries, then meritocracy should be the way that people can fulfill their levels of being able to be qualified for these.
No,
So
I'm not
I
saying
think
that. I'm not saying that though.
I know you're not saying that. I'm talking
Oh,
about the
let him
experts,
finish.
some of
Just
the
let him
I'm
professionals.
sorry.
Yeah, just some of the professionals. This is not Fetty. I'm not speaking to Fetty. I'm speaking to the conversation and the stuff that I've read about people arguing for a meritocratic kind of system. I think the argument that we've been able to make against that and to kind of examine that is that it doesn't align with the history or the marginalization of different groups of people that was qualified for years in professions and degrees and expertise and never had the ability to access resources. Meritocracy does not consider, when we talk about it, it doesn't consider the power dynamic of people's positionings, that there's a power dynamic that still favors white centralization in this country. It still favors white people. And so meritocracy theoretically and through practice have worked for white people and given them advantages historically. And it's created policies, it's created programs that has favored very specific groups of people. And so some of the policies that came about in the 60s and that almost got reversed in the 70s were to try to remediate those meritocracy discrepancies that did not work for other groups of people. And it did create some complications in affirmative action, and it created complications in quotas and disproportions of people getting in and lowering bars. It did create complications with that, but it wasn't supposed to be the solution base. It was supposed to move towards a meritocratic society, but dealing with that white centralization, that white supremacy was difficult for true meritocracy to unfold. So I have a hard time with meritocracy because it doesn't take into consideration the history and the power dynamics of how people experience and are limited in their access to attain what they want to attain for themselves. I'll land there.
Right. And we had hold on. Let me say this real quick. And look, if you was listening to what I was saying that meritocracy and the historic aspect of it hasn't really been beneficial to Black people, right? But there's a framework. I watched lectures from the University of Michigan, Missouri, TCU, and HBUs of Black experts introducing a framework and other groups of people called inclusive excellence. And
Absolutely.
inclusive excellence, just by those two words, obviously is a framework that addresses the things you're talking about while also promoting excellence and not lowering a standard just to meet a quota based off a certain number of bodies, based off race and a position. So inclusive excellence actually was developed, I think, in 2005 by the Association of American Colleges and Universities. So it's something that's being pushed again to address, because again, like you can have something on the left that's extreme, something on the right that's extreme. But if you create a framework to try to address both sides and find middle ground, that's the best option we have at this point. So I'm saying again, two things can be true. You can promote meritocracy. Basically, meritocracy is another thing for saying I want to promote excellence, Black excellence. You know those sayings. I want to promote Black excellence, but at the same time address those things that you're talking about. And there's a framework that's been published in the motion. Of course, it's kind of new, but I know regarding like a lot of these convos, meritocracy and DEI is so cold and hot. You know what I'm saying? But a lot of times for me, I try to be in the middle of the joint. You know what I mean? So I see what you're saying. Like if we follow the same framework of meritocracy we have been doing and how other people used it in a messed up way and how it hasn't been beneficial to Black people, I agree with you. Throw that framework in the trash. But I still want to promote some form of Black excellence while also, you know what I mean? So that's all I was saying.
So my brother Fetty, how would you get Black folks to trust this new and I've heard about that theory of intellectual excellence. How would you get Black folks to trust this new theoretical model that's been introduced?
By having Black experts like the ones I saw at colleges be the ones to give them the message. Because I think if a white person said, they ain't gonna listen to it, which is understandable because it's like, damn, you not me. You don't belong well with my people. So how can you really know my best interest? But if you got black experts at PWI, even HBCUs and shit like that, promoting inclusive excellence. Because again, you got black physicists like James Sylvester, I forgot his last name, who also said in his classroom he noticed that young black children wouldn't maximize on their homework when they was younger, and how he equated it to sports. He was basically saying, like, I don't want to misquote what he said, but he made the analogy of in sports, meritocracy is something that's very valued, like, to where, yeah, you discriminating, but at the end of the day, it's like it's based off results. And if you got a football team or whatever, the coach is not looking at a person's skin color and saying, hey, we need to put him in there. But yeah, I would say look at that. Look at what black experts say that support inclusive excellence or some form of meritocracy versus letting DEI and other policies they feel that hinders African Americans from maximizing their potential by always relying on something that could just not, again, maximize their potential. You got black experts that got a problem with that.
We use meritocracy on almost everything we do, on all the decisions we make. But when it comes to ourselves, we don't want to go ahead and use it. It's pretty strange. Like we want to buy something, we're going to get the most best this because those people make it best.
Because it doesn't mitigate the adversities. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Right, y'all. We all make those decisions, and it's not. It's a product we're buying. It's pretty funny to take it to the next extent of buying black business products, white business products. How people think. We're buying stuff because we think that they do it better. Blah blah blah. When we can actually get the same product somewhere else. You know what I mean? And the point about how do we get there is easy. It's just we just got to get people educated in all aspects and fields that exist. That's by letting kids go to whatever school they want to go to, wherever it is. Now, it was mentioned that there wasn't a precedence. The Islamic community is using meritocracy and in a crazy way where they're putting out their best to take over. I mean, it's happening right in front of our eyes. That's an example of precedence, That doesn't make sense.
What I'm seeing is that the meritocracy does not mitigate the systemic issues that create the discrepancy in the first place. To me, it exaggerates. Right? Like you can say all you want about a pipeline.
Hey, Logic, you should stop. That was the clearest point, right? You just said the clearest point right there. Like, say that again. Just that
we agreed though. We said meritocracy hasn't worked, the framework, and we got to change it. I thought we agreed. I literally said everything Logic said is right and exact, and you have people that is emphasizing the points he's talking about and the importance, even in a culture or just America at large, to promote excellence. So you can address both problems and create a framework based off that. So I agree with Logic. I agree with him.
I don't conversation can move past what Logic said though in good faith.
He said meritocracy, he doesn't see how it could benefit black people, especially when you incorporate historical things. I said all of that.
That's not what I said. Right. I got really specific that time.
Yeah.
He's not a believer.
Go ahead.
He said that there's disparities already in the system. So a meritocracy won't work for the people at the short end of the stick right now.
Yes.
It just wouldn't.
I'm telling you,
right? So
excellence, black experts, again, because you haven't, I'm sure you haven't probably watched the framework and why they're addressing it. They talk about all of that. It's called inclusive excellence. It's addressing what you're saying.
I mean, it sounds good. Yeah, all of that shit sounds good, but it doesn't address the problems that created that circumstance in the first place. It does.
So you know the full framework. So you know the framework of what they're trying to talk about.
I mean, if it's anything other than equality, it can't do anything but exaggerate.
Look it up? Like that's all. All right. You're right.
Can I say something? Can I say something, please? Thank you for giving me.
Say it.
Because, you know, Sheffrin, one cuss out per week, please, and I do it already. Meritocracy. When a black man promoted meritocracy, I knew that he's brainwashed. Because
Here we go. This nigga always
take it easy. Take it easy on my guy Fetty, yo. Take it easy on.
He never address. I be cooking this nigga all the time.
Let me take it easy on my man Fetty, bro. We gonna devolve the conversation for no reason. I mean,
we put
I'm talking to Stu P. I'm trying to get Stu P to chill. Like we don't have to say it like that. We don't got to do that.
My apologies. Meritocracy has never worked in the black community. Never ever worked. My uncle came here in 1975. He got a job at Chase Manhattan Bank. When he left Jamaica with a first degree in 75 in finance. In 75, a degree was a big thing. Right? He got a job with Chase Bank, and he worked there for 10 years. And the position that he got the job in, he never got a promotion. And guess what? He trained many a white persons who came into the job who was less than. Many of us here who have friends in corporate will tell you that black people will get through the door, but half of the time it's hard to get a promotion. Because then based on that now, they will say that black person was not the best for the job. Although he trained many of his supervisors. And he acted many of the positions, but he was never appointed to those positions. Meritocracy don't work because the system that exists does not promote meritocracy, especially for black people. You have outliers. I said outliers. I love to talk about outliers. You have outliers. You have those persons that will advance if given the opportunity and will rise to the top. But on a whole, right? Look at CEOs in Fortune 500 companies. Black CEOs only measure 2%, yet still we have 16.3% of the population. We can go all the way down with most professions and most appointees. Although we have 15%. Black women are the most educated women in America. But how much of them is management? How much of them in charge of Fortune 500 companies? How much of them in charge of Fortune 1000 companies? Meritocracy is a catchword that is used by many to tell people that, listen, if you work hard enough, if you're industrial enough, you will be appointed to the positions. But that is not true because the history and the experience...
it will create brain drain.
Yeah,
it'll create brain drain. It would take the best of us out of our community, and you know what I mean? That's it. So it would just be sucking our best out of us and using them up, but our community as a whole wouldn't get nothing from that. You dig what I'm saying? So that's easy to say, okay, we're gonna go to all fucked up communities and just take their best. You feel me? Like that's crazy. Like, of course they want our best. Of course they want our best to feed their motherfucking meal. Like, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, how does that benefit us?
Right, well, can I say something very quick?
It's got to
really
fix in the system.
That guy's part of a community.
My bad.
So let me get this out. Let me get yeah. So when we're talking about structural things that will fix it for the majority of black people, right? So the pipeline can be open wider for more of us to get through, not shrinking the pipeline so only the best of us get through, then the rest of us is just stuck in shit. So when Tony was talking about the school-based choice, you know, or that where if a parent can put their child in another school, they should have the opportunity to do that. But the parent that don't have access to move their child across the city every day to go to a school, you know what I mean? Then the other kids got to stay in the fucked up school. So only the ones that have the availability or the access You know what I mean? So you're saying we're not going to fix the problem for everybody. We're just going to allow the ones who have access, you know what I mean, to get better. That's fucked up.
It's not like
that.
It is.
But that's what I'm saying. But
It
you gotta
is.
think about DEI though. Like I think y'all confusing what DEI was for. DEI was not to give people positions just because of the color of their skin. So when I heard that, that's what made me come up here because I'm like, nah, that's not what DEI was about. That's not how DEI works. They didn't just give out random, you know what I mean, jobs because the person was black. No, you had to be qualified. What it did was it opened up opportunities for the people who were qualified to actually be examined and to be given a chance to do the job that they are qualified for because of the fact that meritocracy was only working for a certain group. It wasn't working for everybody. So meritocracy, they wasn't paying no attention to what black people were capable of doing. So therefore, black people weren't given the opportunity to even try those things. So that's where DEI came into place. The thing that messed DEI up, well, I won't say that messed it up, but the thing that people pay more attention to is the fact that it helped more women than it did black people in general. Because it wasn't necessarily set up just for black people. It was set up for people who have might be disabled. It was set up for people who might be older and still want employment and stuff like that. So it wasn't just set up to benefit black people, but it was set up in order to give black people an opportunity to showcase what we know. Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother. You're right. And then people get believe that when they hear DEI, they almost say, "Oh, it's unqualified people getting the job." That's not true. It's qualified people would not get a second look if it was not for DEI. But then we buy into the bullshit that was sold to us, the propaganda that that's a DEI person. Up until the point now that black exceptional soldiers' pictures are being removed from the Pentagon archives on the web because it's insinuating that these soldiers who perform feats of valor were unqualified. Be careful with the propaganda that you buy into because DEI don't mean that. DEI mean that the qualified black person would never get a second look, got the opportunity. That's what it means.
There's a difference between intent and results.
Can you show any results? Can you show like you saying that would mean that you have you saying that
people or groups benefited from it.
No. I'm saying you saying that only being a talking point or whatever, that means that you have proof that black people who weren't qualified were getting these jobs. Can you show any evidence of that?
I mean, yeah. We had these convos before. I think it benefited like DEI again. It like the intent of it was
no, that's not the question you asked.
When you talk about the results, it actually benefited like white women and shit like that. And these
unqualified black people who got position based on DEI. Show me one unqualified.
Yeah. I mean, I don't fully disagree with DEI. I mean, and like the results, like, because again, it does address creating again pipelines to fill certain quotas and shit like that. I'm not tripping off that, but I'm saying.
Let's ask that question.
Damn, why can't I finish? God damn, you talk. Oh my God.
For today, over what you're promoting.
You don't even let me land my plane, bro. God damn.
Black people today.
I can't even hear you. Bro. It sounds like you in a submarine.
Which one you prefer for today? For black people today? Is meritocracy better than DEI?
See again. You trying to you're trying to create this hot and cold environment. This either or. When I literally broke down how you can incorporate. See, you niggas don't listen. See, I'm done. You playing the trick bag by making me pick a either or, and I'm literally addressing.
I think he's asking you to explain how you can do both of them.
No. I literally addressed how. No, he asked me a question. He said, would you want black people to prefer or be under meritocracy or DEI? He made me basically to pick an extreme either or. Did he not do that?
I don't know why y'all picking at each other right now, and I really hope
Answer
y'all
the
stop because
question, bro.
I
Answer
think this is like a
answer the
good ass.
question I just asked you, bro. Did he not do that?
I honestly,
Man, all right, bro. Niggas, man.
I don't know. If I heard him, Fetty, I'd have said it, bro. I don't know what he said.
Some of the confusion.
I would hope y'all
Like,
stop picking at each other because I think it's a good combo.
Yeah, so can I feel some of the confusion though? Because I think that the confusion is coming in because of the fact that it's the way that we're trying to use DEI and meritocracy. Because meritocracy is still included with the DEI. That's the point that I'm making. Because DEI is not necessarily giving anybody a job; it gives you an opportunity to get the job. So your merit is still the meritocracy is still there. You still have to be able to do the job. There's no black people out here getting jobs just because they black.
Waypoint.
That is not a reality. You have to be able to do the job. And we usually have to do it 2 or 3 times better than our competitors. So that's like our merit is already there. We don't have to practice any meritocracy because we've already been at the top of the meritocracy from damn near the get go. We've always had to work twice as hard.
Education.
You say we draining that education?
It starts with education.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. But that's always been the case, though. That's been the case since even since the civil rights movement. You saw people getting into positions. Jesse Jackson was one of the guys when he first crunk up the Rainbow Coalition and everything. He had programs in New York where black people was getting on Wall Street. That was his connection with Donald Trump initially.
Yeah,
because he was helping black people get on Wall Street, somewhere that we weren't able to be at all prior to that. So
he actually hijacked the Rainbow Coalition from the Panther Party and the Young Police.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, that's irrelevant to what I'm saying. I mean, I'm just saying as far as what he did and the reason he was doing it. The reason he was doing it is based on trying to get black people in places that they weren't previously. So, like that's why I say like meritocracy and the DEI thing is not separate, because black people, even when hired through a DEI program, still had to show and prove that we could do the job 2 to 3 times better than our competitors. So we've always had to outdo.
I think it's more nuanced.
Always.
I think we're talking about meritocracy in a community, not in the corporate or political sphere. Within a community.
Okay, well, you got to explain that further, because I don't understand how that works.
And look, all of that DEI and the meritocracy stuff, you know what I mean, is an attack on black people, right? And a good way for y'all to see it is the way that they've been attacking immigrants and Mexicans nowadays, that they're taking American jobs and all of this shit. You feel me? The same way they try to say DEI was taking jobs from white people. You dig what I'm saying? And people who were more qualified and deserving it. They then struck down affirmative action because they got the motherfucking Asian community to go against affirmative action because somehow they was getting discriminated against because of black people. So everything, this shit is a fucking attack. You know what I mean? Now black people was stopping. Yeah, black people was stopping Asians from getting their motherfucking harvest. Y'all really believe that shit? Like that crazy shit. White people did that shit. They used the Asian community to do that shit. They had to use another minority group so they could strike down what they already had disagreed with since the motherfucking shit came into existence. And people need, in the same way they try to use black people against motherfucking the Latin fucking community. Now, they taking y'all jobs. Like, really, niggas want to go pick fruit? Y'all now niggas want to go cut grass? Mexicans is really taking y'all jobs? Are y'all certain? Like, this shit is. Yeah, I'm sick of it.
The whole idea is like if you have meritocracy in the community, they're supposed to be they're supposed to be within that community. You know what I'm saying? Like all aspects of industry. You know what I'm saying? But they're in the community. Get it?
No, I never agree with Chef, man, and I got to get Chef.
Damn, y'all, come on.
Earlier, you made a statement, and I just wanted to I'm trying to understand what you meant when you said meritocracy in Islam. What do you mean by that?
Just like like in the community, right? Like let the people who can lead have shown that they can lead, have a huge business. You know, they're doing something, not just like you gotta just have your professionals. You know, I only consider it to the extreme level is how the Islamics are doing right now.
You gotta turn your camera on. You gotta turn your camera.
When you say
we on COINTELPRO watch now, nigga. Hold up.
No pitting, none of that. You know what I'm saying? I'm strictly to the information. Okay?
Nah,
The way the Islamics are doing right now, the way the Islamics are running things right now,
you gotta turn your camera on. I ain't talking to you no
pulling
more.
out, that's crazy, but they're pulling out their best. So what they're doing within their community, they're pulling out their best to represent themselves.
But I'm trying to understand. When you say they, okay, who are you talking about?
Islamics, Muslim Islamics.
Let me finish what I'm saying. Let me finish what I'm saying. The largest ethnic group in this country,
Muslim Islam.
Are Black
Muslim Islam.
Okay. So when you say Islamist, there's technically no such thing as Islamist. But what ethnic are you speaking of? A specific ethnic group? Are you talking about Arabs? Are you talking about people from Bangladesh? People from Pakistan? People from West Africa?
I don't really give a fuck where they're from. They're bringing in that Sharia Islamic bullshit. That's what I'm talking about. The point is, they're trying to best. You're trying to switch. You're trying to
horrible way to bring that home.
Go ahead.
I'm not trying to switch anything. It's just that I'm listening to a conversation. I've been quiet. I heard something, and I just asking a question, and I'm trying to give you clarity on something. So when you say they're trying to implement Sharia, now I'm asking the question: who? What Muslim? Be specific, because there is.
I'm not going to get specific. Here's why: because it's going off the rails of the point of my conversation. You're taking it off the rail of my conversation. You're not going to be able to do that with me. So that was not the original point that I was trying to put here. Listen to me. Stop talking for a minute. Let me talk now. I'm just going to be done in 30 seconds. Okay, just 30 seconds. All I said was. No, but you asked it 3 times. Like, you know what I'm saying? I wear glasses and I heard you.
Was he finished talking, yo? Like
I'm trying to answer. He answered the same. All right, but ask a 4th time.
Let's lay something else straight. I'm trying to be very calm and patient and not be an asshole and flip out and then I'm the crazy fucking spit in the Discord. All right? I'm just having a conversation. I'm trying to understand, and at the same time, there's a reason why I'm trying to give you clarity, because you're speaking about something that I know about. This isn't something I read in a book. This is experience. So, trying to understand who is trying to usher forth Sharia law in America when, under a Sharia law, the Muslim would not be trying to usher in a Sharia law because there is no Khalifa, there is no Amir, there is nobody of that position in this country to do so when they believe in respecting the laws of the land. So are you talking about fanatical extremists? Because if you're talking about that, then they're not Muslim. Those are what you call Khawarij. Those are extremists.
He said Muslim Islamists.
So then you're talking about what people will call extremists. They're extremely retarded. And it wouldn't happen and it couldn't happen. It would be very problematic. So that's not anything to be fearful of. That you see some people in thobes and beards and kimars that they're trying to take over. That's very odd thinking. That's generalizing a group of people. I'm hearing the conversation about black people and stuff and society, just says it's insanely retarded to categorize black people. It's insanely retarded to categorize and have a phobia and a fear of something you don't know about. That's the point I'm trying to get at. That's just like.
Let him tell you about the Muslim Islamists, though.
So let's hear about. Let me hear about this.
The Muslim Islamists.
All right,
crazy.
Are you done?
That's like saying the Christianity Christian.
Are you done?
Go ahead, tell us about Muslim Islamists.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to answer. You did the whole thing. I'm not even going to address it because that's not my point here. You're trying to derail me, and you're not going to be able to do that here. I told you that already once or twice. I'm gonna go silent so you can ask me.
So you mentioned the Muslim Islamists for no reason.
So you derailed your own.
No. I did mention it for a good reason. Can you put Cuban on like pause? I just want to answer his question. He doesn't let me.
Let me go in the corner and let me get my rice and beans and be quiet.
Yeah, my whole point was the way the politicians, Islamics, they're coming in and they're like they took over London already, and they're putting out their best forward to do these things. They're using a form of meritocracy within their own community to do what they're doing. So what I'm saying is, it's working for them. I mean, so I don't understand like how not like using some form of meritocracy within a community, any community. I think all communities do it. And the meritocracy will get the best out there, for the community. I don't see how that wouldn't be positive.
Can you break down like what they're using as far as the meritocracy? Like I keep hearing you saying meritocracy over and over again, but can you give us examples of what they're doing exactly?
They're best educated, the ones that have shown proof what they've done. This is not only Islamic. This is any communities. They bring out their forward to represent themselves.
Right, but represent in what way? What are you saying? Politically? Financially, I don't understand the plan that you're saying that they're using.
As a spokesperson, as an attorney, as a geneticist for their people, just all sorts of different ways.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I still don't get how you're trying to differentiate, because all people use the best of their kind. Like, if I want a doctor, I'm not gonna go to the guy on the block. I'm gonna go to the hospital. I'm gonna go to where the people who have experience are.
You and I, we agree. We agree. We agree that the black community, you can use it a good way or a bad way. Our community doesn't. I don't know. Well, do you think we're using it the proper way within the community, not in a government?
There is no. Well, that's what I'm saying. There is no like no like bucket of a community. Like we don't have. We have a very spread community when you talk about the black community. There's no
we have blocks, we have
brother. We are 40 million people spread out all over America. All right, the majority of black people in America live in the South. All right, so if we want to break down community, then we have to start talking about what is a black community. Because for one, in Atlanta, where I live, we don't have projects anymore. So therefore, they don't isolate. Black people aren't isolated to one area, one particular spot. So when we say community, are we talking about an area, or are we just talking about people that passing by each other and whatever? You know what I mean? It's different sides of Atlanta. I live on the west side of Atlanta. And there are people on the east side of Atlanta that I might not ever come across. So that's my point. Like, so how are you saying do it? Are you speaking like, let me just throw something out there and maybe you'll agree with what I'm saying? Like, are you saying like if we do it politically, we should find the most politically astute
No, I agree. We should
individuals.
define what community is, and I think Stu Pease would love to define that because he said that something about we need communities, so or like neighborhoods. So maybe Stu Pease could add a little bit of information on that.
Better, Stu Pease talking. Better if the white supremacists that you listen to did say something, you could regurgitate it verbatim. But when a black man says something, and a black man inside this room is talking to you, you dismiss everything that they're saying. Yet still, you've been spitting out, vomiting white talking point all day. You sound just like the dude who got shot. But if a black person says something in this room, you dismiss it. You don't remember it. But you can remember every white talking point. Everything I hear you saying, I'm listening to you carefully. But through next week, Monday, I want you to come on. Because I'm going to cuss you out. And I'm going to call you all kinds of names and I'm going to put a mirror up to you. Because you're one of the worst kind of black men.
You're not even...
White ice is colder. White ice is colder. That's the kind of black man you are. But go ahead. Next week, Monday. I'm black first. But next week, Monday. Monday coming. 4 day time, I'm going to hold a mirror up to you. Because you are the greatest of the assholes that ever existed. You come in here, I espousing. I don't know what you look like. Anybody who hiding behind a picture, everybody know what I look like. I'm short and fat. I'm old. I've lived a long life for everything that I've done. But you, I don't know what you is. I don't know what you is. And it's scaring me because you're not unique. If you were unique, it wouldn't bother me. But it's scaring me because there's a lot of you out here.
Unhinged. You're gonna go past it on a week, Stu Pease. Be careful. You're gonna go past it.
This moving conversation backwards.
Yeah. That's what scares me because you're not unique.
Yeah. Unhinged. You're unhinged. Relax, bro. What are you getting so excited about, bro? This is about information. You're scared. You're this. You're that. I don't even come on here, dude. Like, relax.
Well, I think the issue. Is that
again. If you were next to me, you wouldn't talk to me like that. I won't talk to you like that.
Okay, wait.
Let me move it.
You couldn't have been next to me.
Just leave him alone. Leave him alone.
Can I try to move the conversation forward a little bit?
Like, yeah, come on, you guys.
Because like I said, it's all about understanding. So I want to understand exactly where you're coming from. Because like I said, I mean, I get where Stupee's coming from. You know what I'm saying, with his feelings or whatnot. And I'm trying. I didn't want to come up here, even though I was listening. I didn't want to come up here and actually, you know what I'm saying, like go straight off of it. But I feel where Stupee's coming from, because like the stuff you were saying. It's kind of like, where in the hell did he hear that from? You know what I'm saying? Like, who taught you that? Like, you know what I'm saying? So
all black people don't.
I get all emotional and all crazy about it. Like, relax. Like,
I get it. I mean, that's what I'm saying.
Right now, you're in a little fishbowl, and you're not used to different opinions. I totally understand that.
No, I'm used to all kinds of opinions. I'm just trying to figure out what yours has to do with black people and the progression of black people. So if you can and that's why I'm asking you
trying to derail the conversation to something else. You're weak at debating. You're trying to derail the conversation to something.
I'm not debating.
We were talking about meritocracy and how meritocracy works in the community. Remember that?
That's all I was talking about. That's all you're talking about.
Personally, I offer to the black community. I raise my children, man. Get the fuck out of here. You don't know who the fuck I am.
Okay, calm down, bro. Calm down.
I didn't talk about you personally.
I'm not talking about you personally, bro.
You stay on topic. I'm trying to help you.
Brother, you're trying to crash out right now.
No, you're trying to make me look like some villain here. Like we were talking about meritocracy and how it helps the community. Why don't you focus, man?
Okay, all right. Well, you got that out your system. Now, let's go back to the conversation. Okay, so we're talking about meritocracy and DEI and all that type of stuff. And you was telling me about how other people, other communities do it and make it work for their community. So
yeah,
I'm asking you to break it down for me. Are you listening to me right now?
I'm actually going to listen for the next couple of hours. I'm going to actually start listening like the way I usually do. I hope you don't mind.
Okay, no problem. Whatever floats your boat, bro. But I'm trying not to get personal with you. I'm trying to keep it to what you're talking about, and you seem to want to be personal
with me. You don't know me. How the hell
right.
you get
So I'm trying to ask you about the information.
about me?
So I'm trying to ask you. I'm not talking about you.
You don't know me.
Got you. So calm down.
Whatever you
order, man. Yo. What are we moving
Order. Wild. You're in a fishbowl. You think that things that you say over the internet affect people? It really don't.
Super emotional.
It really don't. You need to
I'm trying to talk to you, bro, and you being real emotional.
Let's get back to the topic, bro. Like, I don't know what the topic is, but this ain't conducive to nothing, man.
I just broke down what the whole topic was. I just broke it down. Like I just talked about the DEI and everything that meritocracy. I'm trying to figure out how that works in his eyes, and he's having an issue explaining it, so he's getting upset with me. And I don't understand that because I'm being very patient with you. I haven't called you out tonight. I haven't done anything disrespectful to you, bro.
You ask him a direct question again, so we.
I didn't call him anything.
You don't need to do the ad hominems just because a person.
I didn't call him anything.
We didn't have people pull ageism saying that because he's not over 30 years old, he can't talk on certain issues. Now
I didn't say any of that. What are you talking about?
Charlie Kirk. You said that you was almost about to agree with Stoopies, and you came on here because he was sounding all weird. And stuff. Like we don't need to talk to each other like that. We all men.
Bruh, I'm giving you my opinion. Men give their opinion. I can do that. If I didn't call you out your name, then you being fucking sensitive. Like I can come in and I can get all reckless and I can talk all wild and all that extra ass shit, but I'm not doing it. I'm actually trying to have a conversation.
Like y'all gonna end up going left, bro. Like you got a question for the man.
Question. Y'all niggas keep bending the question. I'm trying to see what does meritocracy have to do with the progression of black people? It's that simple. The fuck are y'all talking about? Can anybody answer that?
You got an answer for him? Anybody? I just walked back in. I'm just trying to get it back in order. It sounds a little chaotic in here.
That's because niggas getting emotional instead of answering questions.
Well, man, it sounds like nobody got an answer for you, but that don't mean y'all ain't got to yell back and forth, though.
Niggas don't want to say that. Bro, I wasn't yelling. I was literally just talking to this brother. He started yelling and getting emotional. I'm just talking. Him and Stoopies went back and forth. I tried to get in between that so we could go back to the conversation. But now it seemed like the conversation is really what's targeting this whole thing right now of this whole crash out. So I'm assuming that the question can't be answered and it was just a whole bunch of gibberish coming out just for the sake of saying some shit. Because when I asked y'all about how this shit works, don't nobody got, I don't know shit, other people did it. Well, how did they do it? So we can fucking incorporate this shit into the conversation. Crickets. Y'all gotta do better at this, man, because this is bad. But y'all said that this was for black people to come on, or people in general to come on and have these conversations or whatnot. But as soon as you had a conversation, it seemed like if you ain't the head of the conversation, then niggas get upset and mad and stuff and fight and shit. What we doing?
See that. My apologies to cut your conversation. My apologies. My sincerest apologies. But when people or everybody here at one time or the other in this room, let me see, the most people here I have seen what they look like. The ones that I don't see what they look like has never been just using white supremacist talking point verbatim. They have never been doing that. If you're using white supremacist talking point and you show yourself, I don't have a problem with that. But if you're in the background and you're coming directly from the Hodges twins or the police officer or the dude who died, and everything you're talking about is exactly what they are saying, right? the anti-Muslim in England, because England got this Muslim prime minister now. Or no, London got this Muslim mayor. So all of a sudden now, oh, the Muslims are taking over London. The Muslims are taking over England. We can't afford that to happen. It's because they have their version of DEI. Once you start listening to people and you realize what they're talking, they're espousing the same talking points, but they're doing it behind an avatar. The same hate speech. But it don't disguise. We're not calling anybody niggers anymore. And all different kind of names. But we're using other words. Right? Because DEI now became a racial terminology, meaning unqualified black people. Nobody can disagree with that. That's what it was being used for. Oh, DEI higher. And we all know that all it did was open a door. And we did not benefit the most from it. But we did benefit. And then when people start talking about meritocracy, where in America? We don't own the businesses. One or two of us fight and reach the top, yes. But any black person will tell you that. Other people were there with them that were black at the lower level. And they were passed over. Because you're going to be the token Will Smith, right? We can name the black actors. First you had Eddie Murphy. No, before Eddie Murphy, you had the comedian Richard Pryor. And he was a big movie star. He and Eddie Murphy could be two big movie stars. But no, when Eddie Murphy rise to the top, Richard Pryor had to go down. Then after after Eddie Murphy, Kevin Hart, or whoever it was, Cat Williams. We never have 2 or 3 or 4 in prominent position. Yet still we are more talented than them. But if you listen to meritocracy, the white comedians or the white actors or the white actresses are better. That's why we have so many of them being called movie star. They use movie stars when referring to white actors and actresses, and movie star when referring to black people. But we live in a meritocracy, or we want a meritocracy. When you watch Big Bang Theory, and you really watch that show, and you look at it, and you say, how is it that this show started out where all of these actors play characters that weren't shit? Penny worked at the Cheesecake Factory. The other girl worked at the Cheesecake Factory. And by the end of the series, she was some big biochemist. One person win Nobel Prize. They all had big jobs. All the white people in that show had big jobs. But the Indian wasn't shit. The Indian in that show wasn't shit. The Indian dude who was in better position than all of them, his father was a millionaire. He lived better than all of them. But by the end of the series, he's the no-shit character. Right? The girl who married to the Jewish guy, she used to date a basketball player, Rick Fox, in the show. Because I started watching the show before I started complaining. I said, this is bullshit. How a girl moved from Rick Fox, 6'5", good-looking guy, to that little Jewish guy that looked like a geek? That's not realistic. But what they promote all the way is that white people will always touch the stars. While black people, if you watch Girlfriends, the show with Queen Latifah, why her magazine never become #1 in the country?
Living single.
It's what they promote. It's what they promote. But when you use these talking points and talking about, oh, if black people work hard enough, all of us would be, no. And the black people who you see that you can see now, they work their ass off. They work their ass off. The scientist guy, Tyson, whatever his name is, he's not the only black scientist. But he has to show that he has an intelligence level, that he can understand so many different things to get notoriety. Neil deGrasse Tyson. But everybody's going to say, oh, meritocracy. If black people work hard and if we're educated. We did the school thing. Because we had more black people enroll into colleges than anybody else. We did it. Jack and Jill do it. We're doing it. We're doing it. But when you look at the cabinet, who qualified there? Is that white people pushing meritocracy? But when you look at Trump cabinet, anybody there deserve the position that they get? Based on the education? RFK. The minister, the Secretary of Defense. We can go down the line. But you excusing, oh, black people should practice meritocracy when white people not practicing it? Listen, I'm the dude who go into the movie theater and open the back door for all of my friends and everybody that look like me. That is how I practice meritocracy. I'm going to open the back door for everybody. And if the dude who don't know to drive the truck, I'll teach him how to drive it in first gear until him learn to drive it in second gear, until him learn to do all of the gears then. Because we were always disadvantaged. And you're coming here talking about meritocracy. White people say this, white people say that. Oh God, Jesus Father. Monday, I do a cuss out.
Now those are great points, Stoopies.
No, you think about it. Do white people practice meritocracy? Do white people practice meritocracy?
No, because then you wouldn't have a phrase that ain't about what you know, it's who you know.
Right. So we're at a disadvantage already. All of a sudden, oh, get yourself educated. Go and get educated and come back. When you ask some white people what their degree was in, some white professional in certain areas, when you go to the hospital, and you see the nurse that's in charge of the nursing for her area, the black nurse have a PhD in nursing and nursing administration. And our boss, guess what our boss have? A diploma in nursing. The white girl have a diploma in nursing. The black girl have PhD. Go to all of the nurses that you know. Ask them if Stupid's lying. If the white boss is as qualified as they are, and I guarantee that 99% of them is going to say, hell no. But you come in here and talk about meritocracy. That's why I say you need to live 20 more years. We have a professional in here, and I've listened to him spoken, and he has said how he got through the door. And then after he got through the door, how he has to justify why they chose him. So at the end of the day, they cannot say, oh, we made a mistake. Even when we get through the door, we have to work 3 times as hard to prove that we deserve the position. Ask any of your professional relatives if Stupid's lying. Ask them. As I said earlier, my uncle, by marriage, came to this country, and he was one of the first person working in Chase Bank who wasn't cleaning the floor. Everybody else black in there was a cleaner. And he was there for 10 years. And he did not get a promotion. And the dude who hired alongside him to do the same job he done got $10,000 a year more than him in 1977. Talk about meritocracy. Talk about that to somebody who don't have no life experience. You listen to them white people talk. And because I'm a Caribbean national, I don't know no history about America. My family has been coming here since the 70s, early 70s. I will understand that when they moved down to Florida here, all the Jamaicans who live in Fort Lauderdale and Lauderdale can tell you that when they come and they landed in the community and they bought these houses, by the next month, for sale signs were being put up left, right, and center. That all the white people moved out to the community. That's why Jamaicans got the houses. They got the houses cheaper. Because the white people were so afraid to live with black people. Are you going to tell me about meritocracy? You live in America, you don't even know the history. That's why I don't like talking to anybody under 40. If you're under 40, you get to grow up and watch He-Man and the Masters of the Universe and Transformers. So you think that the life is a fairy tale? Anybody born after 1985 I have a problem with. Especially if they don't read. They don't know the history of their own country. They don't understand it. That's why they get easily brainwashed. That's why they get easily brainwashed. And once you start expose them to certain things and they start reading, they realize that, oh, I didn't know shit. This is what they were experiencing. That is what was going on. But let me stop. Somebody else take over.
Well, I hate to say I agree with you, stupid again, but you know, I want nobody to rage on me right quick. But I do, but I agree with everything you just said, bro. Like for real. Even the over 40 thing, you know what I mean? Because I'm starting to notice that experience is taking the lowest key in this, the lowest play in this, you know what I mean? Like I can speak on meritocracy just on, you know, and some of the stuff that I done did or whatever. Like I was a chemical spray tech for 10 years. Had a guy come in 60, 65 years old, somewhere around a 52 old white guy come in. Don't know nothing about the job, say he been doing it 2 years and was depending on me in order to teach him how to do the job. You know what I mean? But at the same time, he got the same position as I do. So just on merit alone, you know what I mean? Like we shouldn't be in the same breath. And that's based on experience and expertise and know-how. But I understand how the game goes. That's how it usually goes, especially in the South. You know what I'm saying? Your cousin, they cousin or they brother or they uncle or they sister or whatever is gonna get hired on, whether they know the job or not. And then it's gonna be on that black, that Mexican, that whoever, in order to teach them how to do the job.
See that?
And not
see
get
that?
paid
You
for
know, see that? Let me tell you something. See that? You know, meritocracy is at its core. It is to give black people excuse not to hire other black people. Because back in the day, what black people used to do is that I got into an institution or a job, and I would I would get other black people, although they're not as qualified as I am. And we, as a group of black people who are doing that job, will teach that new black person the job. But what they tell you that, oh, you must practice meritocracy. That means you must hire other black people who is less qualified. So therefore, if you can find a black person who is just as qualified as you or more qualified, you can give them the job. But the likelihood of that happening is slim to none. So it's to give black people excuse not to hire black people. Why did you hire that unqualified black people person? Don't worry about that. We'll teach him the job. You don't worry about that.
Exactly. That's what I'm on. Because that's what I mean. And when we talk about what they practice, like I said, they don't practice meritocracy. They looking at it. They what do they say? What do they call it when LeBron got his son on? What's it called when people put their family members on? Nepotism. Nepotism. That's what the word I was looking for. So we need to show more nepotism. They've been showing nepotism for a long time, and it worked for them. So why are we so scared to show nepotism, like you said? So what? That brother don't know how to do the job. Teach him. Bring them on.
We teach them.
Show them how to do
it. And we teach them. But no, but them brainwash that fool to say, oh, no, he's not qualified enough. He's not the best. No, that's how we open doors for people. That's how black people have always opened doors for people. That once you get in, as long as the dude willing to learn, you talk to him, you know him good, you go to the boss and you hype him up. They say, yeah, man, him good, him all right, man. Him go, all right, me responsible for him. And then you bring him in and you teach him, say, all right, do this, do that, start out at this, start out at that. Any problem you have, don't go to nobody else. Come to me, or Devon right there, so, or Samson right there. So them two man there, three are gonna look after you. Within 6 months, you think you're out there 10 years. Because we'll bring him up. We'll bring him up. That's how we do it. That's how black people have always do it. Talking about, but, oh, he's not qualified. You take white people talking point and use it against the other black people. Well, we've never worked like that. We have never worked like that. Ask your friend.
They ain't
How
never
much
worked
Bob
like
I'm
that.
doing?
My bad, Stevie. I was just
No, go
agreeing
ahead.
with you, but they've never worked like that. Like I said, they've always used nepotism. You know what I mean?
Well,
They've never been the type of people to just say, "Oh, well, no, you got to wait until you get out of college." And no, bro, they get their kids their job before they even graduate. Like they know how to practice nepotism right. We the ones that send our kids off to go work for somebody else. You know what I'm saying? We the ones who need to learn how to, like I said, keep things in house and learn how to, especially when it comes to the profit. Like, we need to learn how to keep them things in house and actually support each other and teach and push each other and actually have that drive to be the best. Like that's part of the problem that I see most times is that a lot of us don't have the drive to be the best. We just want to make a couple dollars. Nah, bro, you gotta actually want to be the top in order to achieve that shit. I'm back on mute.
No, look at something like barbering, the profession of barbering in our community. If Chef was an asshole, he would be the only barber in Baltimore. But ask Chef how many barber has he taught? How many person has he taught? When they come to him, they're green as hell. They can't even hold
done, bro? Are you done?
Yeah, who that?
Okay, thank God.
No,
Listen,
I'm not talking to you.
Done? Shit.
I'm
Let me
not
go
talking
take
to you
another
because I
sip,
don't know
bro.
what you look like.
But that's what you're doing. They're coming out of your
I don't know
mouth.
what you look like. I don't know if you're black. I don't know if you're black. I don't waste time talking.
What we doing?
Listen, man, meritocracy has not worked for the African American community, right? According to you, right? But we use it all the time. You got to reconcile that. Then, why is other communities using that meritocracy and it works for them, but it don't work for us? Why not? You got to answer that. You got to look in the mirror and answer those, real hard questions. Because other communities are doing.
Let me answer it. Let me answer it. Ask me a question. Let me answer it.
No. I wasn't. Let me just add a little more. Because you did a thing there. So you got to explain that. Okay, you got to explain why it worked for other communities, and it doesn't.
Can y'all hear him or no?
Nah, Yahweh got him. Yahweh cut him out.
Yahweh got him.
Okay.
So Yahweh got him.
Yo, and what I was gonna say, because he came back in talking like we wasn't just talking, like we just explained all of that. You wouldn't have a question if you were sitting back listening.
This is into the chat. This is live. Every now and then somebody in here go into the chat because they asking y'all questions. But this is we're live on Carnivorous right now.
I mean, how do you see the YouTube chat from here?
Huh? I just go on to YouTube.
How do you see it? Oh, okay, you gotta actually leave out.
Yeah, I'm in StreamYard. I can see it. Yeah, I'm in StreamYard. I can see it too. But just put it on mute, and sometimes they asking y'all questions. Shouts to you, see that. I've been gone for like an hour or two.
Yeah,
the conversation change. Yeah, I've been out for a while. I haven't been here in 2 hours, so the conversation changed.
No. It got a little crazy. I had to come back and they was into it. But
I wasn't here.
It jumped back on track. It sounded like it jumped back on track.
Just now.
No, the conversation was about meritocracy. If meritocracy is the best for people. And
is meritocracy the best for us, you said?
Yes, and my thing is that in the current American society, it doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us. It doesn't work for us. We have exceptions, yes, But holistically, it doesn't work for us. Right?
Can I figure out from Buddy? I want to know from him, like, how does he see meritocracy working for other people? Because he never explained any of that. I ain't hear not one example of meritocracy working for other people. Like, he just said that it's some communities and they have people in there and they put their people at the top.
All right, let me repeat it. Let me repeat it a third time. Let me repeat it a third time, okay? Because you actually reacted to it when I answered it. Okay, I'll give you another example so I don't get other people excited. You know what I'm saying? The Jewish community, right? Don't they have a form of meritocracy where they, you know what I'm saying, right? That's one. The Islamic community, right?
How?
You got to give the
examples. Yeah, give examples. You just saying it is not an
give
example.
examples, but y'all gotta let them finish, and then y'all come in. So go ahead, give some examples when you're talking about it, Tony. When you say
How
Jews
they get
have it,
together,
give an
like
example
how
of it.
they get together and decide who's going to come forward to represent them.
That's not meritocracy.
Okay, that's my definition
just
of it.
a vote, bro.
That's my definition of it.
Meritocracy.
That's my definition of it. Maybe you understood it wrong.
So we're using a separate definition.
But let me hang on. Before you continue, you know what I'm saying? Maybe you understood it wrong. Okay, that's what I meant. That's what I meant. I meant when a community, y'all all over the place. I'm talking about a community. Somebody said communities don't exist. I'd say, let me call somebody in that talked about communities. He flipped out on me. So what I'm saying, a community just gets together and puts forward their best, and there'll be other people, but they put forward their best represents that community. That's what I'm saying.
Meritocracy, and I respect your point. What I'm saying is
meritocracy within a community. You know what I'm saying? Within
I get it within the community, but we live in America, so the meritocracy that we exercise in our community, unfortunately for us, there are certain things that have to be in place for meritocracy to work.
And it won't really get far in our communities.
Meritocracy in and of itself, essentially just work hard. You know, that's to pick yourself up by just work. Put your head down and work. No matter what.
You'll rise based on your
right.
Work,
But the United States, even if we were to try to do it specifically in our own communities, we don't own the communities that we'd be trying to do this in. And then part two, meritocracy assumes an equal playing field. Now, we can have the idea that we could rise above our station, and I think we all should have the idea that we could rise above our station. That's part of meritocracy too. But the thing is, it's like a sandwich. So, and I'm hungry. That's why I'm making a food analogy. The meritocracy, the meritocratic part of it is you got to assume one slice, the bread is the equal playing field, the middle is the social mobility, but then the top is the recognition. Now, you're not going to get the recognition. The excellence is not going to be rewarded regardless of your background. And then also, it's no equal playing field. So you're not, meritocracy wouldn't fit us here in the United States.
We have more of a nepotist type of system more than like people get casted in the fucking SP 500 company just for being that nigga's son or nephew or you know what I mean. It's not all just merit based.
But there's different communities. There's different communities at different levels, you know, and each community is going to pull up their best.
Or their favorite. Not always have to be their best.
No, it can't be their favorite.
We see it all the time.
We already do, though. We already do. The best of our communities do the best of what they're capable of. The best doctors work in the best hospitals. The best of our community does the.
Yeah, but they're not.
I'm trying to get the practice of what you're talking about because you keep saying it like black people don't use.
Are they giving back to the community? Are these folks giving back to the community?
A lot of them are. A lot of them are, but it would depend on. Listen, it would depend on what you would classify. Listen, bro, it would depend on what you would classify as community. If you're just talking about a certain neighborhood, or if you're just talking about a certain neighborhood, that's why I gave you examples of neighborhoods that don't exist anymore, that were full of black people that don't exist. So black people are scattered throughout all of these cities that we live in. So therefore, there is no singular way to point out a black community, unless you just talking about black people in general, going out doing the best they can with what they have to do it with. So we have that. That is not an issue. It's not. That's why I don't understand. I'm trying to understand where you're coming from, what you're saying, because it don't add up to reality. You know what I'm saying? Like the best of black people do the best of what they can, and they also help other black people. So what are we talking about?
Okay, it's not systematic. You know what I mean? It's not systematic.
But that's what I'm saying. What Muslim, like even when you brought up the Muslim example, what Muslim is the speaker for all Muslims? Who have they put in that?
I don't want to get in. I don't want to. You're not going to drag me into that. I can drag
Okay,
you
what about
into
white
that.
people? What about white people? What white person is it for all white people?
You're going to what we are. You're doing it again. We're not talking about religion right now.
The one person who runs any community, the Jewish community.
We're talking about something really simple. We're talking about a community coming together in a systematic way, pulling out their best to represent themselves wherever they go. That's called appeal to ridicule. When you laugh, appeal to ridicule because you can't answer that.
I'm not, brother, that's not me laughing. I'm still trying to figure out.
Somebody is, whoever it is.
Don't worry.
Whoever it is.
I get laughed at too. It's just what it is, bro.
That's never going to happen. I know it's funny.
No. I just want you to give me some, like, I want you to show me so that way I have something that I can work off of. Show me the white people, the white person. No. But that's what I'm saying. I'm asking you for examples of the white person who is a speaker for all white people, or the Muslim who is a speaker for all Muslims.
I don't know what you're talking about now.
Brother, you said we was talking about meritocracy, and you said that these other communities have representatives for their entire community.
Then
so
you said
I'm asking you for an example.
Then you said white. Why did you do that?
I'm asking. Oh my God, bro, this is crazy, right? I'm asking you for an example of anybody, white, black, anybody, any other community that you're referring to. Give me an example of the person who is running those communities.
Oh, you want an individual?
Yeah, that's
you
what
want
I'm talking about right now.
That's what you're talking about. That's what you want from me. What I'm trying to tell you.
I don't know what you're saying, man, but I'm just gonna go back on
Exactly. Exactly. Because you're trying to wrap me into something that you want. It's not about that. It's about basically communities producing the best out of it. I mean, what's wrong with that? You got messed up because you thought I was talking about it in the corporate world and the government world. It's got nothing to do with that.
I'm talking about period. Period. At all. Give me examples.
Let me finish.
Give me examples.
I already gave you examples, man. This is crazy.
No, you haven't. You haven't given any. You just keep saying random stuff. Randomly saying.
Why are you raising your voice?
This community, what community, and then give me.
Because you're raising your voice, dude. You're raising your voice, dude. I feel like turning off right now.
Name the community and name the people that you're referring to.
I already did. I named two.
Okay, bro. You at this point, you're a waste of a conversation. Have a good one, bro. There's no disrespect to you. You're a waste of my conversation. If you can't even explain your own point, when you can't even explain your own point, you're a waste of a conversation.
That do it. You want individuals, and you want when were they doing it, and you want to go keep on going down like it's called a Martin Bailey. You move from one point to another. Cut it out. I already explained the community. Sorry, lost this one.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Is anybody watching the game tonight?
Who playing tonight? Who winning in the fantasy football league so far? Who is in first place? I think Brass is in first place now. I think the fix is in.
Yeah, Brass is underhanded. You know, he's backdoor trades and shit. For money.
Yeah, he played me this week. You about to take a slug.
It's way too early to tell. You don't really even you really almost don't even know whose team is good until like week 5 for real. Like you gotta let the ball roll and see who really getting touches. Let people establish their role on teams and shit like that.
I just being
Yeah, I know you just talking crap. No, this was a hell of a topic, yo. I wish we had kept it together a little bit longer. Because somewhere in there we got off the rails, but man, for a little while we was cooking. Like even with the people who like we didn't agree with, we gave them space, let them say it, and you know we had some good like rebuttals back and forth. And it started getting crazy, but this was a hell of a fire conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is a good
Real
topic.
good.
Yeah, this is a good topic for sure.
Yeah. It's a pull yourself by the bootstrap argument. And we know that don't work. That don't work. So all the white farmers they're
Look, hey,
crying.
Stu Peas, is it possible you can incorporate both? Why can't we do two things at the same time? Like, why can't we draw? Why is it that we have to operate on such a like that or that?
Yo, Keith, give me your email. I want to send you my picture, bro. I got
We're doing both.
I want to send you the way I look. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so important to you.
That don't even sound right,
You know what I'm
Joe.
saying?
Moving right
You're the
along.
one that asked for it.
I'm gonna DM you my picture, yo. Get out of here.
You're the one that asked for it, though. Yo, this nigga asked for it, bro. He was like, let me see your picture.
It's a lot of pauses. That's a lot of pauses, yo.
Yeah, that was extra crazy. Yeah, that was a little extra crazy. But for real, Fatty. So I believe that you know to whatever extent you attempt to do both, you're gonna dilute the other because I feel like they kind of like in direct opposition with each other. So like meritocracy would prefer to keep things a lot closer to the way they are without addressing those systemic issues and still have the benefit of filtering out our best and putting them into their environments, right? What the opposite would be.
My bad. Go ahead.
I'm almost done. What the opposite would be growing our environment and allowing us to kind of dictate, hey, what do we do with our best? You get what I'm saying? Rather than literally pigeonholing our best into the best thing that they can do with that is go serve purposes that don't have nothing to do with us. You see what I'm saying? Like there's got to be that in there. So that's why I feel like you can't put the emphasis on both sides, right? And if you stay in the middle, you wind up doing nothing.
Well, I sent sources showing that that's why I just want you to read the sources I sent. I ain't just talking. That's what I'm saying. When we talk about shit like this, I wouldn't even speak on it if I didn't read it already and see how it's very effective. And it doesn't like it addresses everything that you're speaking on. And they're saying that in the source I sent you, they talk about how like most people think that these this meritocracy versus inclusions are like mutually exclusive, and it's not. And shit has been put into play already to show when you incorporate both and emphasize both. Because again, bro, in Black communities, these teachers, they have to promote excellence, bro, for all students. And if you're gonna sit up here and say when you talk about quotas and money being allocated, a lot of these teachers, they just let students go by half the time. And a lot of standards are lowered because of that, which is detrimental. Like if we going to talk about both sides of it, we got to talk about both sides of it. So again, excellence in some form of fashion has to be incorporated, and promoting that in community, culture, people who are in high positions to make that change. Because if you just have the mentality on or having the mentality of not a victim mentality, because those things are rightful things to talk about, like the systematic barriers and how really you start in a race, when the motherfucker already ran 3 laps already. And that's true indeed. But in order to try to alleviate the problem in some form of fashion, you got to incorporate both. because if you lean in two way or the other, like these convos dealing with merit versus this, or it's so hot and cold, but we both listen to each other, whether perspective you got or not, and you can see that each side is giving truth. You know what I'm saying? And the brother Tony,
I'm gonna check it out. I'm good. I thought you was done.
Oh no, and the brother, like I appreciate his perspective, because like that you shouldn't be like shunned when you're a black person and you're talking, with black people, and you want to highlight the fact that, hey, in the household, things of that nature, in our direct communities, we need to value certain things as a culture. That's just a fact.
Can I do a comparison? Let's compare swimming to track and field. Does meritocracy for black people work in swimming? Hell no. Does it work in track and field? Yes.
Yes.
In soccer, yes. In football, yes. In sports that don't require any equipment, meritocracy works because we're pitting our best against everybody's best. But in sports like swimming, where you require a pool, where you require water, where you require chlorine, where you require so many different things, meritocracy don't work because people don't have.
But look though, stupid. Say a group of Asians or white people were to protest and say we're underrepresented in certain sports, and me as a parent, go ahead.
That was one of the best analogies I heard all week, and usually I'm not a big fan, but that was one of the best ones I heard. Well, go ahead, stupid. I mean,
but if all factors are equal, then we can discuss meritocracy. But if some people have innate advantages, it is unfair. Although some people don't like to use the word fair.
I agree.
But that is an argument about meritocracy. That's a problem I have, because some people use it as a tool, especially, and those people who
I think you're referring to the radical people. Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
Some people gravitate towards it because, especially persons who are doing well, people who do well like to champion meritocracy because they said, I was able to pull myself up by the bootstrap. Why everybody can pull themselves up by the bootstrap?
But look, Stupies, do you realize why I bring up the importance of addressing? That's why I bring up genetics and all of that, because I understand everyone isn't resilient. Everyone varies, because I did some. I know that the other person probably can't do something and vice versa. So how do you create a system of equity and equality when so many people vary individually?
Right, but that's the middle ground. No, that is the middle ground. That you're going to have mediocre people in high position, and we have brilliant people in high position. And when it comes to certain positions, certain persons are going to fail and certain persons are going to excel. But certain persons will never get the opportunity. You'll never know how good they are.
Right. But that's why creating pipelines based off excellence and incorporating cultural differences. If black people or the education system or whatever can create a pipeline to address the things you're talking about, going to the worst of the worst communities and, finding variables to find certain black children and black children at large to help maximize their potential, I don't see nothing that's wrong with that. Like,
so Fetty, well, let me get back in. So Fetty, what does this pipeline do? Does it like produce more qualified African Americans, or does it just seek out the qualified African Americans?
It actually does both. It does both.
Okay, so how does it help produce more?
Because it produces more because it incorporates things like y'all talked about, like in dealing with IQ tests and standardized tests. They want to incorporate cultural differences and how different cultures learn differently and things of that nature. So they want to implement that on the ground level at young ages and stuff like that. And it's shown that it's worked. And at the same time, promote those people who may not be outliers in the classroom, but to still be prepared to be in a diverse environment. AKA when that black child leaves his immediate environment and assimilates, he's still going to have the tools to know how to operate, whether they're in a room full of white people, Asians, or whatever. So they're trying to, like I'm saying, read it, bro. They talk about all of
that. I've never heard that before. That's why I was asking you the question. So
and look, I hate to bring this into
what that says.
I hate to bring this into
that's like Go ahead.
I hate to bring it to it because even I'm not going to talk about it that much, but in the section of the bell curve, they say when controlling for the things that a meritocracy society would, they found that black people was at positions at a higher rate than white people. So when you factor
I'm
in
gonna leave that part out. Oh, go ahead.
I'm saying when studies have shown when you factor intelligence and outlier scores, they find that black people outnumber other groups. So it's like and again, I heard Stu Pease a couple of days ago say you can't save everybody. Remember we was talking about education that really you can't save everybody, and the ones who are the outliers in the class needs to be in a more class that's not homogenous based off just them being black. Like we talked about all this. You know what I mean?
No,
So in
and
reality,
I'm gonna take a page out of Sheffrin book right here, right? Because this is how Sheffrin kind of sort of shows me that he's not like trying to kill me. You know what I'm saying? He'll say shit like, "You kind of fucked that up," but he ain't gonna sit there and be like, and go back and forth with me over an hour because he's not making it personal, even though he just reminded me, "Hey, you might have messed up a little bit somewhere." So what I'm gonna do, I heard you in the bell curve stuff, and I'm gonna just keep it back on the regular stuff that we've talked about. I'm on your side, so I'm saying
that ties
that would be.
again. If you ain't understand what I was saying, like tying that
No,
analogy
I
of
did hear you. I just wanted to give you a
incorporating.
compliment before I
Oh,
started
okay,
talking. That's
I
all.
got you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just wanted to reaffirm we in a good spot. That's all I wanted to
Yeah,
do. But for what you were saying earlier, like that would be kind of blending meritocracy and equity at the same time, right? Because I view both of those things as like direct opposition to each other. Right now, if you're saying that the pipeline, see, it's still unfortunate because of how politics work, right? I don't want to have stuff like that shrouded behind other things like meritocracy, right? Because if you ask me, I would much rather y'all just work on this pipeline and we could leave meritocracy all the way the hell out of it. You know what I'm saying? Like that would be how I would want to do it. You know, because like I feel like if you're talking about increasing IQ scores, you're talking about early childhood development, I can get behind that, right? But all that, but I guess the language can kind of make it a little tricky for the rest of the stuff. But go ahead. What else did you want to add? I'm done.
Oh yeah, for sure. But yeah, this is definitely a good convo. I think instead of like again, somebody whenever we talk about things that we can do on our own, I think that's what the meritocracy, even though it's not a direct correlation, meritocracy can be used as another word like excellence. So again, if you're black and you want to promote excellence and not lowering a standard, just to have us sitting at the table, I think we should hear more black people out who got those perspectives, man, instead of just thinking, oh, you think that you a coon and all that. That's all I'm saying. Because in reality, a lot of those black people who had those perspectives actually care about moving black people forward. You just may not agree with the roadmap that they trying to get that done, but that don't mean that they hate black people and shit like that just because they address things that we can obviously.
No, I agree. I was
I
the
don't think
only
that's
person in here
what he
who
was
said
saying.
that you're not a racist, and that's why, because I believe of how it happened. Right? We said, hey,
You are
how
not a
do
good
you
example.
help out black people? And you said you offered what you said in the spirit of helping black people. So I don't think that you're a racist. Now some of the shit that you say sound like it, but I don't think that deep down inside you. I don't believe you're a racist. Go ahead, C Dot. Go
Yeah,
ahead,
but
fuss at me. What I do?
I don't think that's what CP was saying. I don't think he was calling that man a racist. Particularly, he was saying that he was using
Well,
white
people
supremacy.
call Fetty racist all the time. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying.
No, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not. I'm saying that in the situation to what Stu Pease was talking about, he was saying that the brother is using white supremacist talking points in order
He was
to
talking to another
explain his theory.
person. He was
Man, niggas
talking to
forget that I
it
had a
wasn't
black
the
like that.
yeah
I'm black and I had
yeah
some
you
black
got the
experience.
voices mixed up.
I mean, I've been around a lot of black folks in my life, and I mean my unique, life path of me playing football, being in different states. I have a good pulse, especially on my age group, on what's going on and what we focus on and what we don't. Even though I can't speak in
What's your age
absolutes,
group?
even though I can't speak in absolutes, and I don't know, I can't understand what all black people are doing, but I have a good idea of what my age group, what we value and things like that, and things I see that are patterns no matter where you at in America. So if you say that's white talking points, I mean, just remember that I'm black, and I'm not just talking based off.
No, he thinks that you're somebody else, Fetty. He talking about the other guy that was in here that was arguing with Corey. Yeah. I'm telling you, are. See that you're confusing him.
I'm not confusing him. I know the difference between him and the other brother that I said I couldn't have a conversation with. I know the difference. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. I'm not speaking on the other guy. I'm speaking on what the brother was talking about. And when Stu P said that it was that some of the talking points come off as white supremacist talking points because we're talking about meritocracy as if like that's something that we do. Like the whole meritocracy conversation comes from white folks. They brought that shit up. Black folks ain't out here talking about no damn meritocracy.
He's just been doing that for 3,000
years. The whole
years.
DEI conversation. The whole DEI conversation was brought up from white folks, not wanting black people to have affirmative action or diversity, equity, and inclusion. Like that came from white people.
Do you see why some people
get
think that
behind
those
it and say,
policies
"Hey,
are
yeah,
harmful?
you know what? DEI is not right." I'm just saying that when you have black people that say these things, you're using the talking points of white supremacists.
Just say it. You a coon. Just say it.
Who a coon?
No, I'm saying if you have any talking points, no, I'm saying if a lot of black people feel, you just said it. If you have talking points that critique certain things dealing with, certain policies or just directing the energy to black people on an inward thing instead of saying, you know what, let's stop blaming external things for a moment. Let's huddle up real quick and see what can we do as a team to make our situation better. To a lot of black people,
why are you doing it?
You will be labeled. Hold on, you will be labeled as giving white supremacy talking points in the cool.
No, because you have to go with what started the conversation. Number one, it's always gonna go off of what started the conversation. This video was titled "R.I.P. Charlie Kirk." Okay, so I'm off the dribble. I can already know that this conversation was started. The beginning of the conversation was started based on shit that Charlie Kirk has spoken about.
Oh no, we've been talking about DEI like for months. Like Chef
Wait, let me land it because I'm telling you why somebody would say you're giving white supremacists talking points. So I want you to understand why, and it's not based on somebody just being brother. It's not just based on somebody being able to call you a coon or a Sambo. It's based on white people using these talking points against black people. So when you adopt these same talking points that white people use against black people, then automatically other black people who have heard these talking points on a regular basis are going to assume that you're getting your talking points from these same white supremacists. Because
that's not really fair though, because you already excluded black people. So like you exclude, it's not a fair fight because you automatically said like, okay, any black person that's spewing this is doing this. And if the white person is saying that, you echoing what they saying. But what if I were to tell you, what if it's just certain humans that feel this way? Why does everything have to be again so hot and cold, bro? In these conversations,
but I'm not.
Bro.
That's what I'm saying. I'm not making that. I'm explaining to you where the rationale comes from.
You don't see how that rationale is
you're using
faulty?
No.
Okay.
Because it makes sense. If somebody is using the same talking points of the people that's been antithetical
to
black
What's my talking point?
Then of course, why would I not say, well, you getting that talking point from a white supremacist?
So white supremacists trying to change the black community? I ain't know that. Because again, like I think
They've
what's important is what you do in real life.
What do you mean? You didn't know white people were trying to change the black community?
No. I'm saying in my real life, I can't be called a coon or whatever because I actually help the black community, and I can show you in a. No,
I never called you a coon.
I'm not saying you said that. I'm saying no. Listen. I'm saying that premise is faulty because I would automatically give a rebuttal and say, hold on, let's apply real life for a second. How can a person on the internet who's so pro-black, this, and police everything somebody say, right? How can you call somebody a coon or whatever you saying based off their talking points if you don't even know what they do in real life?
This is what I'm saying. You keep reverting back to that same talking point that's not being used.
Again, I don't know any white supremacists or anybody who's doing what I'm doing.
Bro, I let you talk. When I start talking, just let me finish, and then I'll let you talk back.
Go ahead.
You know what I mean? If you cut me off every time, I don't understand how you can get what I'm saying. And all I'm trying to tell you, I'm not calling you a Sambo or a coon. What I'm trying to tell you is that the reason someone would come to the conclusion that you're using white supremacist talking points is because white supremacists have been using them. So if you come back and regurgitate the same thing that we've heard from white supremacists, then where are we supposed to think you got it from?
Okay, can I talk? You done?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So again, I think you misinterpreted what I said. Like, I never said you said anything. We were talking about people that had that idea that if you say this, you're that. So I don't know where you got that from, but in
But I just
regards,
cleared it up for you. I
I got you.
said
No, I'm
when
saying
people say that
I
you're
got you.
using white supremacist
But
talking
again,
points,
let me fit, bro. You just talked about not somebody cutting you off, and you just cut me off. But I'm saying
you
when you
asked me a
talk about,
question. I was answering it, but go ahead.
I got you. But when you talk about these things, it's like you trying to corner me by again saying something like, yeah, if the person insinuates this, yeah, I'm telling you that fault is that premise is faulty. If I go further into detail and say, let's really talk about the conversation. So that's why I say I find no validity in a person on the internet hearing my talking points and saying, oh, you're this, you're that. Because if you peel the layers back, most of these niggas who have these talking points against me ain't doing shit in real life. So I don't care. Like that's all I was saying.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. That wouldn't, like, I don't fit that box. So therefore, I don't know if that was like a shot or something like that or whatever. But I
Bro,
don't
are
fit
you
that box.
listening
So
to
it
what I'm
has
saying?
nothing to
I
do with
said
me.
this isn't
But I'm saying,
directed to you. Can you listen, bro? Like
I got
I said,
you.
this isn't to
That's what I'm
you.
saying. I got you. I'm
Okay,
not
but
attacking you, brother. I'm just talking to you.
you
Okay?
I'm saying you feeling offended, but I keep trying to make the
I'm
disclaimer.
not
I'm not talking
offended.
about
I'm
you.
talking to you. I
Bro, you
never
literally
said you
just
was
said, I
talking to
don't know
me.
if that was
I'm
a
not
shot,
offended.
bro. You literally said, I don't know if that was a shot. Let's slow down. You literally said, I don't know if that was a shot. You're not listening to what I'm saying, bro. That's what I'm saying. We be talking past each other so much in conversations, just in this Discord overall. I literally made the disclaimer 3 times. This isn't directed towards you. And at the end of that, you said, I don't know if it was a shot. Like, come on, bro. That's all I'm saying. But go ahead.
Okay. I think you want to lean on stuff too much, but it's all right. You know what I mean? Still, the basis of my conversation is the fact that you saying white supremacists or things that white supremacists say will automatically
Give me some
lead to a
detail. Give
person
me some
who
details.
listens to
What do
white
I be saying?
supremacists.
Like, what do I say that's so white supremacy? Like, I don't get it.
I didn't say you said. I'm like I think you so busy trying to respond and
No,
not
bro, I'm
actually
telling you
hearing
that
what
that
I'm
premise
saying
that
to you.
you're talking about is faulty. So I already established why. So I'm trying to figure out why
If
we
it
keep.
don't, okay, well, cool. If it don't apply to you, then it's not about you.
Okay, I got you. All right,
I'm
cool.
giving you an example of why somebody would say that you're kicking white supremacist propaganda.
Yeah, and I told you why.
It's
Yeah, I got